Get up and get out. Get out. Get out.
I have a question for you.
Say Christ is Lord. Say Christ is Lord. Say it. You say Christ is Lord. Get out. Get out. Christ is Lord.
Hello and welcome in, everybody. This is not going to be another episode of Offensively Accurate. This is actually back to the casual series of monitoring the situation. And today we're going to actually be specifically monitoring Sneako'S situation. And just to zoom out a little bit, we're going to go right into it. It's going to be very specific on these issues and a few other things as well that I kind of had bookmarked and I wanted to take a look at. But we are on day 4, day 5, day 6 of the Club Accost, whatever it is, wherever we're at. Also, thank you very much to James Wellsman. I appreciate that greatly. Thank you very much. It does deserve millions, at least 6 million, I would say. We have a lot of stuff and we're going to largely look at it from Sneako'S perspective. And the reason why I want to look at it from Sneako'S perspective is because there's this growing kind of feeling that the only people who have kind of made it out or look decent are Sneako, Nick, and Clavs. And I would even, as somebody who is an extreme Nick loyalist, I would say that the overall reaction from people like Sneako and Clavicular, and I would say even more so Clavicular, they've somehow had the best reactions to the overall situation. And now Clavicular, for him being the youngest person there, that's kind of an eye-opener, right? Him being like, he's like 8 and 20 years old. Shouldn't even be in these clubs in the first place, to be honest with you. But he's the one that's saying, like, I literally do not care. Like, ban me from everything. I do not care. And I think in short form in a video he posted, like, very shortly thereafter, he says, it doesn't matter. You could ban me from every club on planet Earth. He was like, it doesn't matter. I won't sacrifice my ability to, I think he says do content or say whatever he wants. Something like it's a Gen Z. And he's not going to back down from it. And he even doubled down on it with a tweet a little bit earlier ago, talking about how he's getting calls from even more club promoters. And he was like, or it was the Rolling Stone, actually. The Rolling Stone kind of gave him a call. And he was like, what are we doing here? Who is the Rolling Stone? Which outlet is this? And I thought that was funny. Let me actually add these overlays back in. I had everything taken off because we did the stream earlier today. We turned the stuff back on. Where is it at? Everything. Turn the NAV logo back on. And so for those of you who missed it, there's some stuff I won't cover here, and that's because we covered it on NAV earlier on the circuit, and that was with me and Zeb Boykin, and we had a little bit of back and forth on Nick's positioning there. We largely didn't even talk about Nick too much, but we were looking at the overall positioning happening, what's kind of the thought, and we basically kind of walked away from it saying, clearly Andrew Tate is under pressure. Is the pressure, now the question to me is, where is the pressure coming from? Is this in line with being a controlled asset? Is he being pressured by some kind of governmental agency? Where is the connection? What's the pressure? Because we know, and it's very obvious, he clearly is being pressured. And you can see this by his change of, he says one thing on a podcast, he says something entirely different on X, and now there's multiple examples of this. And so one of the examples specifically talking about Clavicular, he says on the Jack Neal podcast, and so to remind everybody, it's now no longer just the Patrick Bet David podcast. For the second time, Andrew Tate went on a podcast with Jack Neal, and now the majority of what we're going to be looking at today from Sneako is going to be his reactions to what Andrew Tate said with Jack Neal. It's a little bit concerning on Jack Neal's element because, no joke, and I had caught this just by looking up some of the stuff, Jack Neal, this isn't anything major at all, but Jack Neal had also done a 15-minute interview or a podcast with Andrew Tate about a year ago in September, or about 2 years ago now at this point, September in 2024. In addition to that, Zeb Boykin brought up a clip that I had seen, and we had both thought it was from the Sean Ryan show. but it was not. And this clip was actually a former Navy intelligence officer explaining the process of how they compromise influencers and people like in the general space. And so there's references to Operation Mockingbird. But me and Zeb thought it was from the Sean Ryan show. We click on the clip, and no joke, who's the host? It's Jack Neal. Now, do I think that's anything? Like immediate, like whoa, red alert? No, but I did find it curious that was the Jack Neal has kind of inserted himself now. And to me, and I'll say it again, he kind of came out of nowhere for me. I don't know much about this Jack Neal guy. I know when I covered him the first time, people said they had seen stuff from him before. So not to say he's like an industry plan or anything, but just to say it did raise the alarm bells a little bit, just because I think I'm also in a pretty paranoid state, as are all of us, trying to guess and figure out what is going on, trying to manage like who is who to trust, and to no fault of anybody. I really don't blame anybody for not really having a good answer to that. Now, obviously, I have my biases, and people in the chat have theirs towards people like, Nick Fuentes and otherwise. But it has been a very chaotic would be a good way to describe it, but it's been very unexpected. Like, I think this was an unexpected thing, especially because it's such a change in tone and nature and emotion from the energy and vibes that were there when they were doing the, I don't know how YouTube treats it, the Heil Hitler song, and everyone's like loving it. And then it was in the immediate aftermath, it's completely getting blown up. And I think this is the biggest takeaway I have of the whole thing is, and Zeb seems to be in agreement with this. Now, I don't know if I'd go so far as to say it's a setup, whether it's direct or indirectly, but clearly the person they're trying to cast the most blame and the most like the biggest problem in the room is Sneako. And you're getting that from both the Fresh and Fit guys, and you're getting that from the Tates. Now, it was funny because Nick didn't really go which way. He basically gave the objective take, which was that Andrew Tate and Sneako have been not getting along for a period of time. And so to certain effects, it's like, how much of that is actually from Tate not liking Sneako and them having a secondary beef outside of everything else? Or was this in what Zeb was thinking, is this closer to a setup? It was this purposeful to try to eliminate influence from Sneako or something to that effect? Would need to be thought out a bit more. But regardless, Sneako is clearly the person who's being attacked the most, and he's also being the most vocal against everything happening too. So we have a good bit to get through. We're going to be looking at it from Sneako's perspective. We're getting edits now from Sneako. Sneako's now top G. I saw somebody said Tate's bottom G. We're getting literally full-blown edits of, Sneako, saying random things just this week alone, and now he's supposedly top G. And truth be told, I would even go further than what Nick had said. Nick basically had said, I don't love what Tate had said, but he tried to offer a full defense of they are clearly under pressures. They have families. They did do things in the gray zone of legality. But I would go further than that. I would say specifically that it's clear, like there's clearly something happening here. And I would have liked to have seen a little bit more of a defense of Sneako. Like that's entirely unfair. And now that we do have proof that it was Fresh from the Fresh and Fit podcast who played the video and played the song in the club. That to me is like, there's not even evidence there. And so to me, that this continual push on Sneako, it's what's the directive? What's the motive behind it? So starting off, we're just going to start burning through clips. And this will be obviously, again, a bit more casual than how we are normally. We'll start off with this one, the Burger King hat, and we're just going to rip through these. These are a lot of reactions from Sneako today. And this first one is the Burger King hat one. Well, of course, it won't let me click on it for some reason. Literally letting me click on everything but that one. There we go. All right, let's put it on screen. Here we go.
He posted this today. He's wearing the Burger King hat, right? Do you guys know why he's holding this? It's because this is a meme where a white guy was on the plane and started saying the hard R. He's like, oh, look, I'm the edgy guy who says a racial slur. Actually, no, you're not. You folded when it came to anti-Semitism. Don't try to be here and talk, I'm the base guy. I'll say the words you don't want me to say. What the fuck is your lawyer talking about then? And what are you talking about on the PBD podcast? Saying it's retarded and that you're horrified and you wouldn't listen to that song. You don't get to wear that crown. That crown here, this Burger King crown, is for the top G. Take it off. It's my crown. Stole that shit. This is him trying to get the dissident right to, because you don't play both sides like this. You can't serve two masters, just like the people who have dual allegiance to the Nazis in Israel. You can't play both sides. You can't be like, oh, we don't need free speech and this song was hurtful, and then also put on the hard R crown and be the edgy. No, it doesn't work like that. Now you can't make edgy jokes. Now you can't make fun of races and make fun of people around the world. You can't. You can't make fun of feminists. You can't make fun of I'm misogynistic. I'm a human trafficker. It's gone now. You don't get to. You lost that privilege. I'm top G.
Now, Sneako top G, that's for you guys to decide. I really could care less what people think about that. And I'm not even like the biggest fan of Sneako. Obviously, I'm not Muslim. I'm a Christian, and I wish Sneako would convert. That maybe that'd be a crazy thing to see happen. But this kind of, I mean, he's spot on with this rhetoric here. Like the overall obvious reaction from most people was like, "Holy F!" Like, like where is this coming from? And it was really egregious, right? With PBD specifically. There is literally a moment, like everybody makes fun of Matt Walsh in that clip that goes viral from Nick, where he's like, yes, sir, Ben Shapiro, yes, sir. Andrew Tate literally has a moment like this. So I'm going to go ahead and put it up here. It's mind-boggling that Andrew Tate was put in this position. So I'll jump down to this one real quick just to show you. And also, too, like, you can't be like, I'm top G, I'm breaking through the matrix, and then also be wrapped into stuff like this as well. Especially with the way that PBD was describing it. Like I think I had mentioned like a day or two ago, the way that PBD was describing it was like Andrew Tate should be a Dana White figure, a Dana White-esque figure. And to me, like that clearly is painting a picture of like staying inside of the matrix. He named two people who are still inside of the matrix, who are literally active parts of the matrix. So to me, it's like, I don't think Andrew Tate had any intention of going anywhere beyond what he was doing, which was making a lot of money and, being influential or a clout chaser, really. Let me put this back. I didn't realize it was this quiet.
Can the guy who deals with anti-Semitism weigh in on anti-Semitism? Of course. For a second, guy?
Yes, sir. Yes.
And it's right there, Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Like, bro, that's crazy.
Damn, bro. How you getting bitched by Adam like that, nigga? Bro, he just bitched you.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Bro, that was not the way you were. This was not the dynamic on PBD back then. They used to be like fearful. I remember when they did that PBD podcast right after you came out of jail, everyone was like starstruck from his aura. They were all like, oh, cool, you drink coffee and cigars? He's like, all day long, cigars, coffee. I was doing 1,000 push-ups in the gym. Everybody was shocked by his aura. Now they're like, now he's saying, yes, sir. And they're saying, shut up, let me tell you about anti-Semitism.
Weigh in on anti-Semitism?
Of course.
For a second, guy?
Yes, sir. Yes.
And it's very obvious. It's very big tell. And especially too, because, and just to bring it up again, because I don't want it to be missed at all. And for anybody who might have missed the last stream, everything that Adam Sosnick says is made entirely and rendered entirely worthless and dog shit the moment that at the end of it all, he says, in an attempt to like, was there at least a good moment in this? And the way that he's kind of saying this and talking about it, he asks Andrew Tate, well, did at least Nick lose his virginity? This shows you like the value set, right? And it shows you that the Jewish secular West is nothing like the American Christianized West. They are two entirely different entities. So when you are looking at this and Adam Sosnick is screaming at you, it is no different than as if I was in India and I didn't honor a cow or something and they're all mad at me. And it's like, dude, I don't give a shit. Like, you love these cows, that's fine. I don't believe in that. My country doesn't believe in that. You keep that here. So when Adam Sosnick's like screaming at the top of his lungs, it's like those value sets, we don't hold those here. Like we don't, it's like the guy from New York when they're cleaning out the Jewish tunnels. Like we don't do that here. We don't do that here in America. You just screamed at me and you wanted to tone police like a hen-pecking woman at the top of your lungs, and then like you want to joke around about something like it couldn't be further from like what we want. And again, we might have a song in here I'll play a little bit, but it's going viral, and I think it was LP who had posted it. But I think there's a very specific verse in one of these Jewish songs, and it literally is to the effect of like we uglify beauty. I'm forgetting like the first portion of it. We'll find it here in a little bit as we get down the line. But it's this is kind of like what that is. That's what their value set is. It's like denigrating society. All of those values to us, in our opinion, denigrate society. I think it's objectively it denigrates society, degrades society overall. One thing I literally completely forgot to mention at the beginning, which I shouldn't have. I feel like an idiot now. We finally hit 20,000 subscribers. Massive thank you to everybody. I appreciate that. Now we're on to 30K. Can't believe I even made it this far, to be honest with you. To be completely clear. And we have Sneako in here. That's awesome. I'm in here. Dude, don't tell me is that legitimately Sneako in here? That's crazy. Hey, appreciate it, brother. Congrats. Hey, congrats for standing up for yourself, man. I'm in here defending you. Literally just got finished talking about how you and Clavs, to me, are like the two people who are kind of rising out of this moment, man. That's absolutely massive. And we're watching some of these clips here. We're watching you become like you said, you're in top G now. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with anybody as long as it's not Andrew Tate at this point. That's awesome, dude. I appreciate you being here, man. Obviously, you don't have to stay. I'm a Christian nationalist. So you might disagree with me. I'm obviously a great Brahmin with Nick Fuentes. That's crazy, though. Appreciate you being here, man. Now you're making me nervous. Now you're making me act different. I don't want to. I appreciate it, though, man. Thank you. I forgot where I was at. That's funny. But again, like I was saying, like these value sets doesn't mean anything. When Adam Sosnick says that, it's no different than Vivek saying we need to go to the caste system. It's like, I am blushing. Like we don't believe in those values. So you screaming at us to hold them doesn't mean anything because it's like we don't believe that. And we're about to go to Sneako'S 5 minutes one. So this is supposedly, I saw this edit earlier. And yeah, stay strong, Sneako. Also, praying for your safety, man. I feel like with a lot of the comments that we've had here recently, makes it feel like that there is a level of cancellation that's going to be tried that's not typical. Or hopefully you don't get Kirkified, I guess, if you understand that. It's crazy world out here, man. But going to the next clip I wanted to watch of Sneako'S here is this 5-minute one from Underdog Clips. Dog walking all of Andrew Tate's. And so we're going to go ahead and see what he says in response to Andrew Tate here.
The problem with talking about him is he likes it because he needs it for his stream. So he's going to take this clip and he's going to sit on his stream to his few viewers and he's going to make a big deal of it.
Don't we get the same live viewers?
First.
Well,
I don't think I sold him out. I'll tell you why.
Oh, tell me why.
Firstly, he hasn't been my friend for a very long time. He's not my boy. He's not like Tristan. I hung out with him years ago when he was emulating me, trying to be me, desperately. I made his career by speaking to him. Otherwise, he would have stayed a nobody forever.
I had 1 million subscribers before.
Instead of showing me thanks for that, he started, every time I wouldn't reply to his texts, go on stream and cry in some way and complain about me. It was very bitchy. It was very weird. Like, he'd beg to be my friend one side and then do a stream and insult me the next side. Back and forth, anything for views. Very strange. And I'm not the only person he did it to.
You said you were going to beat me up.
And then
And I'm going to be honest, like, I've heard people keep referencing this, like the beef between the two. I really, like, I wouldn't be able to tell you what that was or lay it out to you. I know they don't see eye to eye, and I think you see that in just some of the footage and like the B-roll footage that we got, which was funny because in one of these edits where Sneako's saying like, I'm top G now, they go to like a cut to the party that happened where, that caused the club accost. And the way that Sneako's face is, the way he's like sitting there, it's like he doesn't want to be sitting there listening to whatever Andrew Tate was saying. They might have been talking about Neon or something, but I thought that was a great cut, great edit.
I said to Tristan, anyone who names themselves Sneako, like you're naming yourself Sneaky. Imagine I was saying, hey, my name's Rat.
So that's crazy. And we talked about this, me and Zeb did on the stream earlier on NAV. This is the definition of reaching. Like this is the definition of reaching for straws. And I mean, come on, like it's his name. Like it's sad. And again, truth be told, everything that he said here now, if you go to his X page, he's commenting on people like Chiefs Trumpster and like clavicular updates and stuff, saying the opposite of what he was saying in person on these podcasts. So it's just, again, to me, Andrew Tate's coming off like a terrified animal. And it seems like he doesn't know what to do or say. And I feel like he's kind of like in a free fall right now where he doesn't want to jeopardize like his own life and his family and whatnot. If that's the situation, Or is he trying to do this long walk of, trying to maintain keeping his audience composure without having any kind of other legal conditions come in? And again, this is kind of what Nick had said, talking about how when he had first entered in and came back into Florida after leaving Romania, as soon as they stepped down, it was the Florida AG at the time, or the deputy AG at the time, immediately comes out and to start going to laying down some charges. And it's all because some random 40, 50-year-old lady at the time was like, oh, hold on. And Andrew Tate, did this to me back then. And I think most of us, after, being brutalized after the Me Too movement, we're not no one sits here and believes women on the first accusation anymore. At least if you have decently high IQ, you're not going to believe women in this day and age. And when you see that just on its face, you just know the system is trying to get him. So we know that the pressure is there. To me, the question is, where specifically is the pressure coming from? And I think it does have to shed a little bit of light when you have to remember their dad was in the CIA. So again, very questionable elements. I'm somebody who tries to lurk as much as possible. So I seriously try to avoid being one of the first people to throw the accusation. But the hunch here is I would be very dishonest if I said to you right now, I don't have a very bad feeling about Andrew Tate being compromised in an extreme way. And I think that's how it's coming off to most people too.
It's a shit name, and it's weird.
Your name is
I'm not
Cobra.
gonna talk to him anymore.
Your name is Cobra Tate. You're calling yourself a snake.
Because he's just weird. And then I get to Miami, I speak to Clav, and Clav is with
Cobra
Nick Fuentes,
Tate.
and he begs for Sneako to come. And I said, Sneako's weird. Begs and begs and begs. Here we are. Who's on the internet insulting me? Sneaky. Sneaky's now on the internet with an opinion. Luckily, he doesn't matter.
Snake Cobra.
Sneaky doesn't matter. When this controversy's over, he's going to have to go back to making...
I'm sorry, I just have to say, I feel like I'm thrown off now because I feel a little starstruck. If he's still in here, he probably isn't anymore because I'm probably too boring for him. The Sneako, and I said this on NAV, I watched Sneako before I watched Nick. I watched Sneako before I watched Fresh and Fit. I watched Sneako. I was watching Sneako. Sneako was... I started watching Sneako pulling away from Timcast IRL. And so to me, I came in on the red pill on the women front. I came in on the element of there's huge problems with women. And so just to see that, and my wife will probably really appreciate this too. We watched a lot of Sneako, back living in our old apartment, it was been 3-4 years ago. And so I just have to say a little bit of starstruck. You can say it's gay or whatever. I just appreciate it, man. And I would like to make friends in this space, to be honest with you. And and maybe move up a little bit. We'll see. But back to the video.
Videos no one watches, and trying to find some other controversy.
You asked to be in my video.
He's not in business. He's not making any money. He's not close to the Trump family. He's not moving politics.
Whoa,
he's not.
Trump family.
No Hollywood actor wants him. He isn't connected to the royal family in Dubai. He isn't doing anything. He
doesn't have Zionist connections.
He says the wrong thing. The
he
royal
doesn't have
family in
Zion
Dubai
connections.
will say, sorry, you can't have your political protection and your golden visa. Ooh. Sorry, we can't give you the Emirati passport anymore. He doesn't. He's at such a low level. He doesn't even contemplate the world above him. He doesn't understand why some people can't do what he's doing. Because he doesn't matter.
To dick suck Zionists?
So I don't think I sold him out.
Why? You did.
I was told he played the song. Because...
By who?
Justin and I were playing country music. And then Justin's phone got taken off him and the song was put on.
No, Tristan
Everyone said Sneako put it on. So when I went there, I said, well, I didn't put on the song. Sneako put it on. I mean, there's no point in trying to hide who put on the song. It's on fucking camera.
Cobra
who put on the song.
Rat Tate.
If it wasn't...
Oh, we got Donnie in here. You would pay to see me in a Wendy's wig? I would do it for free. No, just messing. Hey, at least I'm wearing something. Am I in the picture now? Am I allowed on stage? But I do appreciate seeing Donnie in here, man. It is such a blessing to see Donnie after not seeing him for months on end. I miss Donnie, guys. One of my closest friends in the space.
Him who put on the song, then I was incorrectly informed.
Tristan said
as if I give a fuck anyway.
And he
it doesn't matter who put on the song.
And so did your lawyer today. Your
Why did I not play the song? Truthfully,
it's a fucking song, Tate.
It didn't cross my mind. Dude, I guess
it's a fucking song. It's a song. Who cares who played it? I'll play it again. Yeah, I played it. Fuck it. You want me to? I was the DJ. It was me. I played it everywhere. Played it in my bathroom just now. I hummed it right now. I just played it right here. It's a song. It's America. It's free speech. It's our country. We can play music here. It's what we do. What are you afraid of a song? I thought you were unfazed.
I didn't sit there thinking I need to.
Dude, I'm glad that he said that. Well, okay. Let me just this first. I'm glad he said that because I'm not even joking you. The first thought that I had made me think of that clip when Andrew Tate's like, imagine shooting a man with your last bullet and he stands there unfazed. And it's like, this is the guy who's like, Adam Sosnick is like, and you need to love Jews. And he was like, yes, sir. Yes, sir. What? It's like, yeah, imagine telling a man he's anti-Semitic and he stands there completely phased. like what this is. It's just like, dude, you can't make it up, man. And here we are. And I think this is now the new like news trend. And the one thing I forgot to mention earlier that I wanted to bring up again is the same way that Project Esther has laid out inside of the factions. And I'll bring it up multiple times, but one of the desired effects of Project Esther from the Heritage Foundation is they want to explicitly separate and have the anti-Israel groups not trust each other or erode at their inner network. Now they lay this out with like very specific ones, like, you know, the Jewish Voices for Palestine, things of that nature. But I also see it happening between obviously Candace Owens' crowd, between Nick Fuentes' crowd, and then others' crowd, like Tucker Carlson. It almost makes me feel like this is in that same element to have infighting between the Red Pill Avengers. And you're getting that seemingly between already right off the bat between Sneako and Andrew Tate. And as we're going to go to stuff that I haven't seen, I just clipped and bookmarked the Fresh and Fit and going between Myron Gaines. And so between Andrew Tate, Sneako, and Fresh and Fit, they are arguing amongst each other. They are kind of divided now. Nick seems to be kind of on the outside, and Clouds is like off of ketamine. Like he's like in the clouds somewhere, but he still has really good takes. He comes in and he's like, what's that? Rolling Stone said they gave me a deadline to reply. Who are you? It's like, bro, sometimes it's just, you can't make it up, the irony with some of this stuff. But what I do if Nick dropped in the chat, I would probably fall over. And we probably wouldn't even know if it was him because he wouldn't be allowed. Like if you put Nicholas J. Fuentes on YouTube, like probably not going to see your comment, to be quite real with you. But I'd probably fall over. I'd probably be just as equally as starstruck, to be honest with you. I wouldn't know how to react. And he'd probably start dissing me and then I would have to figure out how to come out of it. Envoy Justice says, yes, Nico does pull the receipts in the stream about Tate and his motives versus what he projects. And I was watching it in between, and part of the reason why I didn't stream yesterday is my daughter got sick and she had a bloody nose. And so this kind of sent alarm bells up with my wife. I was just trying to handle it and keep things down. I didn't feel the best either. And so I was trying to watch as much as what I could. But it's just absolute chaos, the moments that we're in. And so we're going to finish this. We have about like a minute and a half left in this one. And we'll go to his actual positional takes against Clavicular and Sneako, calling them nobodies. We'll go to that one after this one. Estea Shorts, I see that you are another verified account. It's crazy to see another big verified account here. It says, stopped liking Tate after he started promoting crypto scams. They too. And on that note, I feel the same way still about all the other dissident right people who aren't a part of the Red Pill Avengers, who is pushing that fake, what's it called? It wasn't Polymarket, but it was like some other kind of gambling site. And it was like Jake Shields, Morgan Ariel, Elijah Schaefer, and a few other people in there too. So I was like, yeah, you got to cut those people off, man. Like because for me, it's like I already turned off the gambling and alcohol on YouTube. Like it's not a hard thing for me to just sit there and go, no, like I'm not doing that. I don't need your money. And like I said with Chuck on the NAV debate, like, I don't care about being rich. Like, obviously, I want to not be broke and be suffering, and my family's like, what are we going to do? Like, obviously. But I also don't have, like, monetary end goals. Like, to me, it would just be enjoyable to see the country heal. Like, that's, like, where I'm at. But again, I think most of you guys know that. A Little Marble says, send him a link to your show. I could, but then you probably block me. I could, though. I don't know if I've ever reached out. I think Donnie tried reaching out on my behalf, to be honest, but I don't think he ever got back with him. We do need to reach out to Beardson still. I have said that 25 times and I have yet to send a message. So we do need to get it. We need to get Beardson. Cameron McGregor is someone I've also talked to. David Riley would be a good person. We have a group of people we need to reach out to. I just need to not be myself, which is not wanting to set up the extra portals and the hosting and all that, because, you know, it's just a headache sometimes. Became Numa says, Atlas, are you in agreement with Nick's take on the Tates right now, or are you more against how Tate is handling this? I am more against how Tate is handling this. Nick gave a bit of a defense that I think came off to me as he wants to be a bit hands-off, and Nick more so attacked Adam Sosnick and PBD than he did Andrew Tate. Now, there could be an argument of who should be get more anger. I do think overall, though, the element in the disparities between Adam Sosnick's Jewish values and Christian values in general, but also just the very easy, like, contrasting elements of, let's play Smack That All on the Floor by Akon. You know, let's like talk about how we treat women like dogs and they're all bitches and we get money and we shoot people. Then they play a song about Heil Hitler, the world stops. And can you imagine that? Like, you know, like they're in there and they're like, hold on, stop playing that. Like, that's an awful song. Put on Smack That Bitch by, and it's like, what are the values here then? Because to me, that is an open admission that, like, it is clearly, the world has now clearly adopted Jewish Western secular values. How can you even say that and not hear yourself be incoherent? But again, those are his values. And to people who don't believe in them, they typically do come off incoherent, such as, why do these Indians worship cows and let them walk through their front doors? Like that, to you, you're just like, that doesn't even make any sense. Alas. Rub my hands together more? I don't rub my hands together like at all. Which is funny. Costco Law School says that gambling is everywhere now. Even the Daily Wire pushes it. Are you serious? Is the Daily Wire like a Polymarket team? I haven't seen any gambling being pushed from them. Well, speaking of that, there's been one thing I've been meaning to bring up on the Daily Wire, and that's the fact that they like reactivated Candace Owens' like old account. Now, don't take this as me sitting there being like, oh yeah, pro Candace or whatnot, but just as an aside and objectively, it looks like they're activating her old socials so the Daily Wire can post on her old account, but it seems like they're only posting on it to attack Candace. Like that, you don't get any much more slimy than that. But again, the Israeli Wire is a whole different animal. Arcturus says solidarity for the Wang halves. We restore brotherhood and honor. Selling out is negative aura. Very much so. Texas says, I'm trying to break my alcohol and gambling poker addiction. I struggle hard. May God forgive me. God does, and God will forgive you. And for somebody who did struggle with addiction, specifically, you know, when I was in college, it starts with you. And hopefully this doesn't come across as harsh, and maybe it will, but it starts with you and it ends with you. And until you recognize that you can and should be controlling all elements of your life that is within reason, you will then be feeling the empowerment to do so. So for me in particular, like what ended up getting me out of it was waking up with the hangovers every single day. And just the feeling that like I couldn't even be a human being until 3 p.m. It was just days in a row of doing that to me, I found myself and I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. And I didn't need a diet plan. I didn't need a specific like regimen. I quit cold turkey then and there, and I never looked back. And I think for a lot of people, you'll find the stories where they quit and it was like actual beneficial and they stayed off it for a long time, were the people who quit cold turkey. For some substances, that's like, obviously you're going to have some withdrawals and it'll be intense. But I do think there is an element of, if you want it for yourself, it will happen. But I am rooting for you. I do wish you the best, man. I know it's tough. But Donnie Brooks says he legitimately likes the song. It is a great song. NAH is a great song. YouTube's going to come clap me, dude. Sneako commented on the YouTube page. Now it's over, dude. Now it's over. Now Sneako basically snitched on me, dude. I was doing fine. No, just messing, dude. But it's like, okay, now I can't wait for Andrew Tate to say something about me. That's lovely. Let's get it started, dude. Let's get it started. And to this point, I'll bring this up here. I've covered the legalities a hot minute ago. I think it's been a long time since I've actually looked at some of the very specific elements of like what are the cases are alleging. And there's different cases, and the different ones over the years have different evidence, different people involved, different witnesses. But I do think that is the operant element here, which is what he also said. Andrew Tate said this specifically, and I'll just go ahead and play it because it's relevant right now. You know, he talks about how Nick doesn't have even the same level of even worrying about this cancellation because he's not even involved in these things in the first place. And so I'll play this clip here because there is an element of the fact that the reason why they have this so much leverage over Andrew Tate and power over him is because he did wade into the waters of the gray area. And at least at the bare minimum, even if it wasn't straight up illegal, it's something that is like societally still seen as like taboo for certain people. And they will be able to wield that against him. And again, we live in the female era, right? The woman era. So it's dominated by feminism. And so anything that would be like seen as victimizing women or like violating women or even disempowering women will be viewed in the worst light possible. But I'll go to this one. And this is Andrew Tate highlighting the element about Nick that keeps him from, you know, being compromised in the same fashion, which is kind of a tell. But also, to me, it also comes off like a veiled threat. And so I'll go ahead and play this, not from Tate, but kind of like a warning. Here's this one.
Clown show.
Everyone has an accusation except for Nick Fuentes, and he's a virgin, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I think one of the reasons, probably the only reason Nick is still on the internet is because he avoids women. Because if he had had a sexual history by now, they would have caught him. Nick's problem is that you get 3 lives. The first life is to cancel you. They've already canceled him. But now he's kind of back. So he did good. But they canceled me and I came back. I invented coming back from cancellation. I was the first motherfucker to ever get canceled and get bigger. First one. Nick got canceled, didn't get bigger. He disappeared for a long time. Mm-hmm. I got canceled and got bigger. Realest nigger alive. I invented that. Second, they try and put you in jail. Third, they kill you. The problem that Nick has, and I actually really like Nick, is that if his taxes are in order and he ain't touching women, they haven't got much they can get him with on stage 2. And that doesn't mean they let you off. That means they skip stage 2 and they just kill you. Fucking clown show.
So that to me, given the fact if you pair it as well with the fact that Nick has said this multiple times too, you know, he said this at the end of 2025, like he had thought that the first big cancel with Emily Eustace. I know Emily, not personally, but I'm familiar with her work. But the element here, it comes off almost, and going back to what Nick had said at the end of 2025, he had a saying in a clip that went viral where he felt like they were going to strike at the head of the snake. I.e., in my opinion, the head of the snake right now, by and large, he just went on a multi-generational run, is Nick Fuentes. And so when you get the language like that from Andrew Tate, and he gives the reasoning too, he gives you the explanation, and it tracks, it's coherent, it's logical, which is that because there is no phase 2 for Nick, because the canceling of his own sentiments not there, the phase 2 in Andrew Tate's description is now they're going to find something from your past or something, you know, morally gray, and they're going to now try to pin it to you, you know, legally, and, you know, arrest you. But Nick doesn't have that element. There is no, like, and people are going to bring up the J6 thing, but regardless, there's no element of that from Nick, which is like, he's not pipping out girls on webcams. He's not out going to clubs every now and then. He doesn't have a wife to like say, you know, make up claims about him like Steven Crowder. He doesn't have that liability like the other ones have. So Tate makes the point, they're not just going to simply stop. The machine never stops. So they might just skip phase 2 and go straight to phase 3, which is what happened to JFK, which is what happened to Charlie Kirk, which is what we have come to understand is now seemingly making a comeback. And the part of the reason why in my opinion, and it's unfortunate because I said this like a year ago, the reason why that you're going to start seeing physical assassinations start coming back is because character assassinations are starting to not work. And so for an extended period of time, because the media had been so consolidated for such a long point, and it still largely is, they were able to get away with not having to actually physically put a bullet into you. But what they could do was they could poison the well to such a degree, or quite literally directly defame you, or just, you know, harm your image, reputational damage, whatever, to the point that nobody would even give you a chance. Nobody would even offer you a platform, much like what happened to Nick. But as we're getting more and more open internet, more and more free kind of speech with X, and this is kind of the trigger point to change these things, now character assassination is not nearly as effective. And because it's not nearly as effective, they need to find something that is effective. Well, what always has been effective is quite literally taking people physically out of the game. And that seems to be where we are. We are coming back to that because the media consolidation no longer works. It's no longer effective enough with Operation Mockingbird to tell all these people to assassinate their character and then to expect society to do the work for you, which in that sense, society being like, oh no, I don't want to hear from that person. That's a really bad white supremacist. Oh, I know about that person. They're extremely racist. You can't get any close to them. Can't platform them. Don't listen to them. Even when they're, on different shows, make sure you avoid this kind of content. But that's not working anymore. And seemingly when we see this, right, with Heritage Foundation, in Kevin Roberts, I think is his name, and many other people since then, there have been attempts to cancel and they didn't work. And so now I think it's very obvious to a lot of people that because these elements aren't working anymore, we're seeing this kind of convulsing nature, which is, i.e., Josh Hammer writing an article saying we need to neutralize the fox in the henhouse. What is that supposed to mean? It literally has one definition. There's only one thing you do to a fox in a henhouse. That convulsion now seemingly is beginning to stabilize, and you're seeing it play out also in the geopolitical scene. Things are obviously happening on the geopolitical. Now it seems that they have reconfigured that they're going to move with a new strategy, which seems to be stronger compromisation elements from these groups, stronger divisive elements from, i.e., Project Esther. And it seems at the very end tail of that, it's looking like they quite literally might just start coming out and start shooting people again. Now, again, this is just an observation from myself. I know that YouTube doesn't enjoy these kind of conversations, but hopefully that is a very objective and like newsworthy way of stating those things. But that seems to me, that would be my observation, is it seems that we are back to the Wild West of people might just simply get shot because there's no other physical way of handling them. And given that there still is some element of control, they can tweak the narrative and dude, you expect Kash Patel is going to be standing up for like America and freedom. The dude is the deep state. So there are elements that's already controlled there. And so I think with that, we may be in for some terrifying times, to be quite honest with you. And so I wanted to make sure I played that one. I think one thing I want to go to before we start looking at the fresh and fit element and what the beef they had there was there's a 13-second clip from Sneako that I saw where he doesn't leak the names, but he does leak that he's been in contact with, or people have been in contact with him, contacted him from Tate's circle. And this is what they say. We put it on screen here for you.
People that I probably just don't want to leak publicly. Bro, even like, I'm not even going to leak this, but there's been like close, not my circle, but their circle, DMing me like, yo, good job, bro. Good job. Or people that I probably just don't want to leak publicly.
So, if you have people from Tate's circle telling Sneako, good job, that to me tells me, well, two things I would say. For one, that makes me think that even people who are close and high up in the circle there with Andrew Tate they're not even aware of what this change of positioning is, or they feel like they're out of the loop, or they're the ones that are like, they're sending him a message because it's like, dude, you might be right. I mean, like they quite literally are like, they're just confused. Or, they could also be on the lower end and maybe they just like sneak over Tate and they're just working a job. But I would lean closer to the former. Which, what does that then tell you? Well, that then tells you that if these elements of compromisation happen like this, and that's the direction, that's the kind of like what we're sniffing out here, this is the hunch we're pursuing, then to me, it tells me in that kind of network that it's very closed off. It is very extremely upper level conversations. And I'm talking like one-on-one conversations. They checked the room first to make sure no cameras or anything was on. Like very like almost like Hollywood-esque. And maybe Tristan Tate was in the room too. Maybe it was both of them. They were being sat down by somebody. But it gives you that feeling that it is almost movie level, the way that would be upper level circle. Because I can only imagine somebody who has the ability to text Sneako can't be a super low level person. It'd have to be somebody who's at least at the ability to schedule stuff or like is decently high up, would know the daily operations of the Tates. So that's just to give you some reasoning why I would lean that direction. But now we're moving on to something a little bit different, which is that we'll just go to this one. The proof that Fresh played HH in the club. So this is it, which is just Heil Hitler. That's the song they played. And it's from an account I don't know, but it's from Sneako'S community, and here it is.
Bro, when we open up the fucking band, I've never heard that song played at the club.
Yeah,
you know,
we made it happen. How the fuck did you guys do that?
When I go out of New York, I always try to get the DJ to play, and they refuse.
No, they won't.
They refuse because they can get it shut down.
Crazy.
Dude, you gotta thank Fresh. Fresh hooked that one up. He was like, "Yo, we need this played," and they have to go on Rumble, get the link, but we made it happen. I think the dudes that own the club are Arabs.
Oh,
so, yeah, they're like, "Yes, let's go."
I can't believe we heard that in Miami.
Yeah, it was lit, dude.
Bro, seeing Myron throw up Roman salutes in the fucking club.
It's a complete.
Bro, when we.
And so he just says it point blank. And I'll replay it one more time just so everybody, just get the picture down.
I always try to get the DJ to play, and they refuse.
No, they won't.
They refuse because they can get it shut down.
Crazy.
Dude, you gotta thank Fresh. Fresh hooked that one up. He was like, "Yo, we need this."
You gotta think Fresh hooked that one up. So then he talks about how they had to go to Rumble, right? The song's not like you can just play it on Spotify. You got to go find it. And there might be edits on Spotify, but they probably sound a little bit different. And what is kind of funny, blame the black guy. Immediately, everybody's like, it's either Myron, Fresh, or Sneako. It wasn't any of the white guys, which is just crazy, but funny and predictable. Because, and I can't remember who I had heard this from, but I'd seen it somewhere, and somebody could fact check me if I'm wrong, but I believe I'm 100% correct on this, is that the person who coordinated going to the club from the Tate's place, so basically, it goes from the 3-man stream from Sneako, Nick, and Clav, to now they're at, I'm assuming it's one of the Tate's places where there's like a bunch of these random chicks are now appearing. It's the Tate's, Jay Waller's there. But then they go to the club. And I had read, and I believe I had read, somewhere that talked about how Fresh was the one who had hooked up and set up them getting in, bypassing security. Now, I might have even heard that from Nick Fuentes. But that was the tell, which was Fresh was the one that coordinated these things. And what's crazy is, this is insane to me. He gets mad at Sneako because 3 employees were fired. But if what we're hearing here, which is obviously true, then he's mad at Sneako for not playing the song when he was the one that coordinated the event, that brought everybody there, that he personally went and talked to employees to go to a specific Rumble link to play a specific song. Brother Fresh, you are the one who got those people fired. It's the most retarded thing I've ever seen. So just to lay out some of those facts out there for you, here's a bit more of the Sneako versus Fresh element that I'll go ahead and play. Let me close some of these tabs before my computer blows up. I'll go ahead and play this. There might be another one I'm thinking of too, because I don't remember it. I think it had Myron Gaines was there as well, but here's this.
No!
Nobody even mentions it.
Yo, I'm on live, man. Oh shit, are you streaming too?
I'm on too. Yeah, he's a pod. He actually tells people, yo, bro, I'm live right now, bro. Man, I'm exposed to Sneako for who he really is.
Yo, I got Sneako on my stream. Like, I'm on.
Isn't that crazy? Isn't that insane, guys?
No, fuck you, nigga.
Well,
you see it act in Fork. You see how the energy is. You see how the energy is face to face, and then this is why Red Pill is dead. These people don't stand on anything. They're only.
I'm assuming the dude who just said "F you" Wigga was Fresh. Had to have been.
Only in it for money. They have no principles. They're not men of their word. They're clout chasers. It's like there's no self-respect whatsoever. And I've been saying this. Tate said, like, he's saying all this stuff on PBD, and he's like, oh, Sneako talk shit about me. To my face, he shakes my hand, and he says, there's no issue. There's no problem. We shook hands, and it was fine. When he leaves, he says, okay, let's do something in New York. I'm going to come to New York next week. I'm going to pull up. Let's make a video. He wanted to do one of my YouTube videos. I'm a YouTuber. I'm not even a streamer. He says all that. Then goes on PBD. Tristan Tate calls the other guy and says, it's all my fault. All these people are fraudulent. They're not in it for the truth. They're not in it for the reasons that I thought that we were in it for. They're in it for money. They're in it for networking. They're in it for opportunity. It's all fraudulent. And there's no. Why would I squash something? Right? There's nothing. There's nothing. These people are nothing.
I feel like
And that's the one thing I will say. Like, they are. I mean, like, quite literally, especially between Jay Waller and the Tate brothers. The biggest thing that I come in again is I'm a Christian nationalist, right? I'm a Groiper. I don't like the fact that they are so disconnected from any kind of positive values or strong value sets. Not to say that there's nothing good in the messages they have about masculinity, because there definitely is. But the end all be all of just being like, you have multiple children and don't even talk to them. Like this is all away from what it is actually meant to be as it was written. And again, I'm a Christian, so I go with what Jesus says. That's my opinion. It's my belief. And so to see them all kind of have like this kind of to me, they were always in it for money and clout. And you couldn't probably convince me any otherwise. Now, did Andrew Tate turn it into something that was beneficial for a lot of people? Yes. But I think if you were to remove that element and he was not to go anything, major like that, to me, they would have always continually pursued what they were always pursuing, which was money, views, status, women. And I'm, there's a lot of people I could go listen to that are like, how to be a red pill man. The only thing that really kind of cut away from Andrew Tate was when he was taking it up a notch. But if he's backing it back down, he is no different than any of these other, like, Mike Israel and like these guys who are fitness bros who talk about, being feminists and shit like that.
I just need to be in the same room and talk.
We were. And what happened? Nothing. Quiet. I said, let's fight. He's laughed it off. Can't make eye contact. Yes. And I told Tate, set it up. You got misfits, let's do it.
Hey, why are y'all fighting again? I forgot why.
Because he asked me to fight. And so I said yes. And then look at him now.
Why are y'all beefing?
Yeah,
like it doesn't make sense.
Right. Nobody's beefing. People talk about.
But y'all are beefing.
I didn't even know. I thought because he came up to me in the club on stream and said, "Hey, I know we're mad. Let's drop it." That's what was said to my face. And now you see the way that they talk online for clout and for clicks. So I'm asking. I'm asking.
Wait.
No, Ak, wait, hold on. Ak, as a man, what you just saw right there, is that a man of any true character?
Well, if he got beef with you, yes. But if you're saying he told,
I'm gonna stop it right now. I would not be asking the academics like I would not be asking academics a question about morality. Like I'm sorry, but I have to say it. Like I don't think this is the brother to be asking like who's moral. Like what do you think about this ethic dilemma here? Sure, he talks a lot, but I wouldn't be getting no advice from academics.
Told you there is no problem, and now that would look crazy.
It's on stream in 4K.
He spoke to you and said, y'all are cool.
He came out to me and put his hand on my shoulder and said, hey, I know we're mad, let's just drop it.
It's all bad. Sneako'S completely in the right on this. It's just like an awful look for Fresh. Now, I want to find the one from Fresh because there's one where he's like, I think he says on the call when they were live, when he says, F you to Sneako. But I want to specifically show you when he starts like bitching. That's a terrible photo. Lord have mercy. But he specifically starts talking about employees being fired. But like I just said, and I'll say it again, if you were the person that set the whole thing up, you were the person telling the person, hey, DJ, the Rumble link's here. Hell, I'll even send it to you. It's like, do you have the audacity to blame Sneako? And it's all a faux thing. It's like it's all faux outrage. And part of this is just because like Fresh is just an idiot. Like I'm just to be honest. Like he just is an idiot. And I don't mean that to be rude per se, but I mean it to say like the dude has no political acumen. He's always wrong, particularly 100% of the time, most parts. And to see him continually behave this way is like, I've always thought this too from just the perspective of like Myron at some point's got to like, he needs to start stepping away from this and like separating himself a little bit more, because I can only imagine how, and you see him do a lot more individual stuff, but just imagine if Myron like walked away a little bit from Fresh and like the image that would have. Not that he has to or that he should, or I'm telling him to do whatever, do what he wants, but I just think it does make him, it's just not a good look ever. Like he's never a good look. He's always bringing Myron down. And in this case, he's just making a fool of himself. And in this sense, Myron's going to have to either pick a side. Now he's got to either, sit there and turn on his like main co-host, or by his real name, Walter, or he's going to go at Sneako, right? It's like now he's stuck between a rock and a hard place. And it's like, brother, people have been telling this for years. You should walk away from Fresh. The dude he's a bum, and he couldn't string two words together. I don't know how he runs a podcast. And I'll tell you what, one of the saddest things ever is watching the scene, which is Fresh, their Jewish manager, which is the G Prime guy, who got obliterated by Andrew Wilson because he's like this big numbers dude, like horoscope and stuff. He believes in magic and shit. Like, again, like wow, color me shocked. He's Jewish. Then you have, what's the other guy's name? Dom Luker, who's like notoriously one of like the worst, like just pure engagement. I wouldn't say engagement bait, but he is just like, he copies people's videos. He's just the black Ian Miles Strong. If like Myron, it's like the answer is self-evident. Just take a screenshot of their podcast and ask yourself, Myron, is this who I want to partner with for the rest of my career? Ask yourself, do I need Fresh to do what I'm doing? Do I need Fresh to run this podcast? Do I need Fresh to do these things? And again, I'll say this too. I'm not telling him or saying Myron should do or do not, whatever. I'm just saying, if you were asking me, I think it's very objective and I think he's known it. And I'm saying this specifically because I was in his position where I had a co-host and I went back and forth on how to handle it, what to do. And eventually, like, if you let it drag on too much, you'll have a bad break. Like, let it be cordial and cool it off first and part ways. And it'll be better than having a big blow up if you're just asking for my opinion. Because mine was very small. Only the Discord community knew about it. But on a major stage like this, like, who knows what would come from it? Sure, it generate a bunch of clicks and views, but like, you know, maybe that's what they're in it for. Let's find this video, man. I want to specifically find this video. It might be this one.
He's worried about.
It might be this one. We'll try it. We'll figure it out. We're going to play a guessing game here.
About the backlash. Before he was saying, oh, it was us that wanted the song. Why are you now saying it's somebody else? Because you know why? He's folded. Yo, the nigga folded. Oh, Top G, I didn't fold. Snicko, you are worried, my friend. You know how I know? Hey, bro, we're banned from the clubs. What can we do? You are worried, Snicko. I'm about to expose you, nigga. Because you know what, Snicko? You think it's funny, but you're going to feel another brunt of force. Because, dude, you understood what that song meant. You played it in the van, thinking it was funny. Oh, bro, I'm going to dance to this and sing along. But wait a minute. Now you're banned from everywhere. New York, Miami, Vegas, LA. Oh.
Hold on. Does he say Sneako played the song? Are we still doing this? I'm sorry for replaying it, but like, let's be specific.
He's worried about the backlash. Before he was saying, oh, it was us that wanted the song. Why are you now saying it's somebody else? Because you know why? He's folded. Yo, the nigga folded. Oh, Top G, I didn't fold. Snicko, you are worried, my friend. You know how I know? Hey, bro, we're banned from the clubs. What can we do? You are worried, Snicko. I'm about to expose you, nigga. Because you know what, Snicko? You think it's funny, but you're going to feel another brunt of force. Because, dude, you understood what that song meant.
Am I just like, is there a certain like IQ I need to have to understand like what is being said here? We might have to replay this like 5 times. Who's it getting exposed? Like, Fresh, brother. Wait, I'm gonna be real with you for a second, my guy. The internet's making fun of you. Bro, the internet has like Sneako and Clavicular's back right now. Like, what are we talking about? This is insane.
Played it in the van, thinking it was funny. Oh, bro, I'm gonna dance to this and sing along. But wait a minute. Now you're banned from everywhere. New York, Miami, Vegas, LA. Oh, wait, you're banned for other things too as well? Crazy. So watch this now. He had a deal with Twitch to come back on the platform. Guess what?
No.
Now it's cooked. Now, hold on. There's more that he's not saying on camera. But fellas, it's all fun and games with this song, but it's fucking cringe. It's disgusting.
That's crazy. Like, I don't know how you could say anybody was ever like friends if you're standing on stuff like that. Like if I had beef with my friend, right? Like, I'm gonna handle it like behind closed doors. Now I get it's obviously different, and I'm not a bigwig by any means, so maybe this stuff just goes public because you're always on camera. And maybe they were never friends either, to be honest with you. But like, to sit there and stand over, like, I would never be like, oh yeah, and now you're banned from Twitch. Now you're banned from Twitch. It's like, it'd be one thing if it was like he was banned from Twitch because he was like shocking his dog, like Hassan Piker, which like will never happen. It's an entirely different thing to just exercise your rights to free and political speech and then stand over you. It's like, what is your morality, bro? Like, even in some of the worst cases that was happening on some of the left-wingers, like in the early period of 2020, right-wingers were not standing over the grave of people's accounts. They're like, this is wrong, and even though I know you hate me, I will protect your ability to free speech. That's not what you get. Not what you get from complete enemies. There are no principles, apparently. Well, I already knew that about Fresh, but clearly there's no principles here at all.
Honestly,
deal with Twitch.
Yeah, it's gone now.
That up.
It's gone.
So wait a second. He fucked up Rumble.
Yep.
He fucked up
Party.
He fucked up Twitch. He already fucked up YouTube. He got that fucking back. So imagine if imagine if fucking something happens to him.
And you know what? This is actually a great point. I probably need to zoom back out a little bit. And sorry for pausing that video. But Envoy Justice right here says, Atlas, this doesn't make any sense coming from Fresh when his best friend Myron rides on that song as his intro to his show every day. And very true. I don't watch Myron every single day or daily, but I do see the clips from him. And Myron Gaines is constantly doing like he's doing the Jewish money or the greedy merchant or whatever. And he's like bending over, shaking his hands. You also have, he's wearing like the full up, like, KKK get up. Now, granted, that seems to be a bit more like in the realm of what's allowed anymore, which is clearly there's a tier list of races that you can make fun of. Thank you very much for the super chat, brother. I appreciate you. Where was I going with this? Forgive me. But the zoom out though, we're going like too strong into like these very specific elements of it. If you even look back at where we were at with Andrew Tate, he has videos of himself blasting the song. There's videos of himself doing the Roman salute. He's like sitting there, he's like, but now he needs to condemn anti-Semitism. It was like, to me, it's just such a joke. It's such a facade. And I'm surprised we're not seeing more of that. Like more of these clips coming from Andrew Tate that are like, you literally just like 5 days ago were doing this. Like, what are we doing here? Now you're going to stand on some barrel, stand on some like moral grandstanding. Like I would never let it get too far. You're right. These guys do look up to me. It's like, bro, like to be quite honest, like Tate looks like one of the dumbest people in the room. And he's really only there by circumstance. Nick is there entirely on the ethic of his work and who he is as a person, his essence and his ethos. And I would say also the same thing goes for like Myron Gaines and Sneako too. Clavicular is another one. Maybe Clavicular less so because he was boosted. Like, who is Andrew Tate in this conversation? And as we're finding out right now, you're nobody. Andrew Tate doesn't belong in the conversation anymore. And now Andrew Tate will be looked at with a side eye for what I would imagine would be for the near future and for probably for the foreseeable future, I would say. And to your point, Starline, I'll say it again, the same way that Project Esther seems to be unfolding in different factions and elements, like in the political sphere, this to me has all of the same kind of tells to it, which is this divisive nature to set all of these different guys' audience against each other. But you would have to imagine if people watch Fresh and Fit, they probably watch Andrew Tate, or they watch, 80% Fresh and Fit, 20% Andrew Tate, or maybe somebody watches Myron Gaines and they watch Nick. Maybe they watch Sneako and they watch Nick. Like, you got to know these audiences are shared, and now they're going to start like actually hardening them up and separating them. At least that's how it's coming off to me. As you go back to the video here, I want to know if this is where he does scream about the employees being fired.
On fucking Kick.
Well,
he's done.
I'm going to just say this, bro. You deserve everything coming your way, Sneako. And fuck you, bro. Because guess what? I don't give a fuck. You are going down the rabbit hole, and no one's going to save you, bro. Not me, not Gary. You're fucked, bro.
Oh, dude.
And you know the funny part about this?
I'm done.
You thought it was funny at first. People lost their jobs, bro. You saw the news article, right? Lost their fucking jobs. It's not funny.
This is the one. This is insane. That is insane. You played the song. You set it up. You brought everybody there. You are the most to blame in this situation. How? But obviously, this is him. This is him reacting, trying to deflect. He's got nothing. I mean, you would literally have nothing. For him, it's either apologize or act a fool, and he's choosing the latter.
Honestly, bro, they should really
it's crazy.
Do something to you in a different way. I won't say it online, but bro,
yes, you wanted to
jumped that up,
funny? Didn't it?
You get what you deserve, bro. And trying to put this on me? Are you retarded?
Karma's a bitch,
bro. I promise you, bro. Wallahi, if you think this is gonna fly by, you're gonna be okay. I'm gonna make sure you feel the pain.
So what's not in this clip is Fresh does literally threaten Sneako by, man, that photo is awful, bro. Lord have mercy, please don't do that again. I don't know if I'll find it. I'm gonna make sure you feel the pain. This might be the same one. There's one that I saw that literally is like the next 30 seconds after that, and it's essentially it's Fresh like saying like he hopes something happens to Sneako, and everybody knows what I mean by that, which is that's crazy. And if anything, I think it's more of an emotional reaction from Fresh, which is like, dude, it's over for you. You're done. Like the last thing that you could do is be one more time a liability to Myron and everything else. Like people are just going to cut you off, and it looks like it's already been happening to a certain degree with like the fact that we just watched that podcast. unfortunately so. And hopefully Myron just drives a nail in the coffin. I don't want Myron to get buried in all of this too, especially because I think he's been a boon for the overall, kind of just pushing the Overton window, even though I disagree with him on a lot of things. But I think he can speak pretty well, and I think he's been an overall benefit to the direction of pushing the Overton window to the right, and largely on the elements of feminism. And he's gotten a lot more political, especially on things like immigration too. So for me, I would just like to see Myron maybe clean that up a little bit. But again, I'm not saying he needs to or whatever. I'm not. And who am I to even ask? Like, I don't have the audacity, whatever. Just saying, I think that'd be more beneficial. For Men's Health, Myron's good. Yeah, exactly. And he was former, what was he with? He was Border Patrol. He was immigration officer, something like that, former Fed, if you will. And isn't that funny? Like, isn't it crazy that Nick does come out of this, like, being the wholesome chungus of, like, the group? He's drinking Red Bull. He's not partying. Like, it's just the timeline that we are in cannot be understated. Just how like brazenly just insane that it is, just insane. So that's there was that next one from Sneako there. We covered that one. Which one did I miss so far? There was one I wanted to go to here that made a great point, because Sneako talks about how Andrew Tate misses when the Matrix was just about feminism, and I believe there's a lot of truth to this. Was he DHS? Thank you, Hook. I appreciate you, brother. And I missed a super chat. I apologize. It's from Titan. He says, off topic, mullet picture in the war room. Lovely. Lovely. That's awesome. And I'm glad that you got it. He had messaged us a couple hours ago saying he was like, he had to wait. I feel bad if it took you like multiple hours to get your haircut, man, but glad you got the mullet though. That's awesome. But here's this video. I don't know why it's preloading. And thank you for the super chat, man.
But the way he's speaking now, you could see the bitterness, because it's like he misses when the Matrix was just about feminism. He misses when the Matrix was liberals, was the World Economic Forum, was the globalists, not when it was the organized Zionist control. Because now that's going to mess up the money. You realize a lot of the Zionists, these people, they like when you make fun of transgenders. It doesn't affect them. So they'll allow you to make fun of globalists and whatever, Chi-Coms, what else, Frankists, and they're fine with that. But it's this bitterness that now the red pill's not about women not driving, it's about Israel.
Is what it is, because if they wanted to escape, just like if you wanted to be stronger or you wanted to be richer, if you wanted to escape,
like this nigga really thinks that escaping is being with Elon Musk. like this is Tate thinks escaping the Matrix is glazing Elon Musk and doing SpaceX. He literally thinks that escaping is being a billionaire. No, it's not. It's still, bro, the richest people in the world are still slaves. The richest people in the world still have to kiss the wall, dummy. Have you not seen that?
Crazy.
The richest people in the world still get dog walked by the same people that are controlling us. They still have to, I don't want to spell it out too much, but you understand what I'm saying. They still have to do the same humiliation ritual, no matter how much money they have. That's not freedom. Freedom is that's freedom. And when they come at you, oh, why'd you say this? You turn up the speaker. Nah, nah, nah. That's freedom. That's escaping.
Very true. Escaping feminism is just one element of escaping the Matrix. If you think escaping feminism is it, yeah, you got it wrong. I did have another super chat in here from Envoy of Justice. I appreciate it, brother. He says, I don't know if you saw, but Myron went onto that stream with Sneako and academics. Sneako showed him what Fresh said, and Myron was very disappointed. I will play that. I seen that one floating around that had Myron in the bottom on the Discord panel, but I haven't watched it. I'll go find that one next. And to that point again, I would just like to reiterate on the Patrick Bet David podcast, when it was Patrick Bet David's turn to start, talking all this shit on Andrew Tate, even though he wanted to move the conversation previously. What he's saying, he's referencing, because this is off the back of the Indiana-Miami championship game. So the Indiana-Miami championship game just happened a couple of days even prior to that, or maybe it's even the week before. And Patrick Bet-David brings this up in reference where he sees a scene in between, whether it's the first quarter or halftime, whatever, and it pans over to Donald Trump in one of the box seats. And sitting alongside Donald Trump in one of these box seats is none other than Dana White. And this is very commonplace now. Dana White's typically seen with Donald Trump in a lot of these events and venues, typically the UFC, and that makes sense. But what Patrick Bet-David says to Andrew Tate in that moment is he's telling him like he's a disappointed son, where he was like, that should be you in there. Not to say that Dana White shouldn't be in there, but Patrick Bet-David's vision for Andrew Tate is that he is a influencer that's close to Trump. And Tate's agreeing with him. And therein, if Patrick Bet-David is saying, you know, your highest status, your highest aim as a man, Andrew Tate, is to be in the ear of Donald Trump and tell him a bunch of sweet nothings that he's more than likely would never do or enact, is like quite literally that is not escaping the matrix. That is reaching the very top of the ladder that they allow you to. By definition, not escaping the matrix. And so to hear Andrew Tate kind of agree with that and Patrick Bet-David lay it out in the way that he did was like, that's insane. And so Sneako'S 100% right there. You know, being side by side with Elon Musk, like Elon Musk is part of the matrix too. Like he doesn't get out on this. And the thing is, there are some benefits to what Elon Musk has done. But he's still very obviously inside the matrix, and he plays on both sides. How many times do we have to revisit him, you know, losing his mind over the H-1B visa discussion? What be 2 years ago now at this point, you know? And then right after that, we have Vivek Ramaswamy telling Americans they suck, they're lazy, and they're worthless, and we need to have India's work ethic. And these things can't be forgotten about who these people are and where their positioning is. And much like we have on the circuit, Patrick Bet-David to me has always stuck out as he's a very high-end alternate media, much like in the same vein as a Tim Pool, much like in the same vein as a Steven Crowder. And to me, not that I think that that's a benefit at all, but they position themselves as if they are these kind of independent authorities. And they are like, they fact-check themselves and they do things differently here. We're not attached to anybody. But then you see what their positions are, who they have on his podcast all the time, and it's like, it's very obvious. You have a close connection with the Daily Wire. You have a close connection with all these people that we don't like. And there's no hiding it. And so, again, just was safe for like the 10th time. Like, Sneako'S 100% right on this. And just to prove the point, I know a lot of you are familiar with Zeb. Maybe a lot of you maybe even like Zeb's takes a lot more than me, because I'm a lot more corporate than what Zeb is. Zeb was in full agreement with me earlier. Like, Sneako is rising above on this. And it's not even that he's like, you know, nobody's losing here. People are losing, obviously, Andrew Tate. But Sneako and Clavicular are actually benefiting from this. Like, I'm gaining respect more for Sneako as we're going through this. And I'm glad he's standing on 10 toes down on this. We need more people like that who are convicted. It's not about money or fame or whatever. It's about the truth. And I will do whatever it takes to seek the truth. And like I've said before, it'd be a great time to say with all you people here, like, if you have the cost to seeking truth has to be your life. Because anything less than that means that you are up for sale. It's just a matter of, can they purchase you? So to me, if you are in the business and in the venture and your goal, your passions, what you're doing with content is in the vein of seeking truth and pursuing truth, you have to be ready and convicted to a degree that will ultimately risk your own life, and probably will. And ultimately, like, that's probably what the ask is now at this point. So you have to have that level of veracity and intensity to take these things on. Otherwise, you're going to be seen as shallow, hollow, fake, an asset, compromise, etc. All of these things. So it's like, you either stand in on it because you believe on it, or like just be a grifter and avoid these very intense things, right? That would be my advice on that. And to send it back. But where were we at? What were we doing? Oh, we're going to this video. We're going to go find this video from Myron. That has Myron in here. So let's do this. Sneako, Myron. You guys can't even see it, can you? Sneako, Myron, Fresh. Probably look academics up as well too. And also, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it, brother. This is, how is that the top one? These are from a year ago. Is it this one? It's like a shorter one. Sneako Daily. They probably have a lot of these clips, to be honest. That's going to be awful to look through. So let's try it. Minute and a half long. We'll see it. I saw a longer one, but we'll try this one.
Well, we talked about it yesterday, man. I'm not going to bring it up on stream right now.
Yeah.
But, you know,
well, your co-host is bringing it up on stream right now. So, and yeah.
I could hear the frustration for this. Sneako feel like, yo, I'm getting slammed unwarranted.
Bro, we're not even 4 seconds in. What is this sad puppy dog face from Myron? That's crazy, dude. That's crazy to me.
I'm getting slammed unwarrantedly.
And that's not fair, because he wasn't the only one. You know what I mean? Like, I was 100% involved in that shit. Like, to blame him is ridiculous. You know, only? Like, nah.
It is.
So, yeah, but Sneako, what would you want Myron to do?
Look, I mean, I think it's. I don't really want to give it attention, but it's pretty clear. It's like this is an embarrassment. I mean, you're supposed to be like the leaders of the masculinity space, just like no principles. You ask for a fight, back down, in my face, nothing. Say let's fight, no words. Try to squash it. You go behind my back, talk shit. It's fucking embarrassing. These are the people that are supposed to be accountable. Men need to be accountable. Men need to lead. These aren't leaders. These are frauds. These are pussies. It's an embarrassment upon all of us, and especially, I mean, Myron is such a man of real character. It reflects on him.
Let me ask you a question.
Like, it's just
if Myron had to sit down with you guys in private, you'd be down. Would you be down?
That phone call you just heard that.
Bro, what is this, man? Do you think that's what it is? Do you think it's like? Do you think he's just disappointed, or do you think he's just like? I feel like that's like a conflicted look. You know what I'm saying? Like that to me is like he's a very conflicted look. I'll go back a little bit.
Yeah.
That phone call you just heard that. You know the situation, right? You would do that? Really?
Okay. All right.
No, seriously. Like you just saw what the heck? Is that what you would do?
Yeah, I guess I would probably defend myself. I get it, but like.
Then he's like, I'll get it. I would defend myself. It's crazy. There's got to be a longer clip of that because that was like cut down. It's not any of these ones. I swear I saw one. Let me just go back. Let me take my round of it. Let me go Sneako, fresh. And we're looking for one that's going to be, this is monitoring the situation, mind you, bro. That's crazy that as the first picture you see every time. There's no way. I'd click on media, dude, but X is a literal porn site, dude. I can't. We're gonna have to like search by the top ones. I might not see it. Maybe that was it. Maybe that's all it was that I'd seen. I think we might have played that one even earlier on NAV. There might have been a longer one there. Same thing here, minute and a half. It's only 30 seconds long. Feels like some of this is being like a little suppressed too. X is terrible. Completely terrible. It's not Walter's first rodeo for effing stuff up. Yeah, you ain't lying. This is like what? This is like the 4th incident in like 2 years now. There is a longer one. Oh my gosh. All right, dude. We're doing this. It says I'm not about to get attacked. I'm going to click on media so I can look through these videos faster. I'm telling you, it's so bad. Guys, I was looking up a thing for like Knights of the Republic. I think I told this story before. But I was looking something up for Knights of the Republic to send to Tom Foe, I think, which is like an old game. And there's literally a huge like porn website or account, I should say, on X that's really named KOTOR. And guess what I saw before I saw anything Star Wars related? Lovely, dude. They got to clean that stuff up. It's a disgusting. It's the most disgusting thing about the platform. Free speech, but that's aggressive. We watched the one where it's just academic. I'm not seeing another clip, at least on my end. Maybe not. Maybe they're burying that one. Okay. Well, I do have some more, though. There's another one that's kind of like a little bit outside of this. And this clip is when Sneako went on with Owen Schroyer. And this actually brings back up Alex Jones. And so this is a little bit different, obviously going outside and away from the Clubhouse. But he kind of gives a harsh take on Alex Jones. And funny enough, it's on Owen Schroyer's show. So here's that take right now.
I know you had a former working relationship with Alex Jones, but just if I could speak on this from an America First perspective, seeing him now join the globalist movement after decades of saying he was against it, being in support of war in Iran, is just the fact that people are not seeing how pathetic this is and how this is selling out his entire core principles and also his own country. We need to make the same mistakes. This war in Iran, anyone saying that, like, okay, it's horrible there, people are dying. It's like, yeah, sure, that could be happening, but it's time to prioritize our own country. All right, this war is for Israel. It's not for us. This is the last threat around Israel right now, and they've been begging to go bomb them for years now. And so now they have an excuse and they're using us. And you see Marco Rubio, you see Ted Cruz, you see these people say, oh, the patriots in Iran, we stand with the patriots of Iran. No, you don't. You don't even stand for the people in your own country. Now we're supposed to believe that the MAGA cares about Iranian protesters. This slop is insulting to our intelligence.
There's been a lot of talk here, about Alex Jones and what his positioning is, and his kind of changing of the guard, the greasing of the palms, if you will. See, now I am rubbing my hands together on stream. It's funny, and it's something I've gone back and forth on with Alex Jones in particular. And to me, I find it is probably very similar with the Tates, although less degenerate, I would say. And to me, it comes across the same way, which is, with Alex Jones in the Sandy Hook case, making him pay out like something to the tune of like trillions of dollars. It was like more than the GDP of France. It was some insane amount. And it seems he's being allowed to exist right now. But when he came back and being allowed to exist since the Sandy Hook case, most people have felt there's been a change of tune. I would have to agree. I think there are elements of that speak for themselves. I think, furthermore, Owen Schroyer leaving the InfoWars can't be understated. That had to have been a reason. Now it could be something very personal and has nothing to do with political sentiment. But I don't think that you would have gotten that reaction from Owen and it happened that way had it been personal. And the way I see it is this government, this system could crush Alex Jones if they so chose to with the Sandy Hook case. Obliterate him completely and make him have to go work at some, Sears somewhere and shut it down entirely, destroy the IP. Now, to his credit, people like Elon Musk and others have been helping, Elon Musk somewhat, but others have been helping a lot by, pushing out a lot of financial elements or, platforms and free things to go do. So he could survive that way as well. But it comes off to me that he has been pressured. And it's the reason why he won't go after the Trump administration, is especially not in the degree that you would like him to. Now, he goes after Pam Bondi, but he still avoids Trump for the most part. And Glenn Beck does the same thing too. A lot of these people in the space do that as well. They'll separate all of the cabinet picks from Trump. They'll be like, I'm so enraged at Pam Bondi. And they'll go, man, I bet Trump's getting ready to have a conversation with her. It's like, getting ready to. Like, what is he doing? He's just like dozing off in Air Force Two, or Air Force One, I should say. So to me, there's probably an element that Alex Jones knows, like, if he pushes the line, they'll pull the rug out from underneath him and they will let that whole Sandy Hook case collapse on him, which to me is probably why he toes the line. And for him, he probably looked at his family and all the people that he has, depending upon him. So that's the decision that he made. Now, again, this is what I meant by, and this is even actually less so. This is actually more to Nick Fuentes' credit. Because this isn't even more so about like risking your life. This is about how when you see in a lot of these movies, like with Indiana Jones, I hate that we keep bringing up movies, but just when you reference all these things, a lot of these like hardcore guys would be like, take me, no problem, take me. But it's the moment that they threaten somebody that they love that now the equation has changed. And with Andrew Tate, with Alex Jones, they have marriages, they have children, they have daughters that look up to them, right? They have their own families. And so they have now put themselves in a position which they're struggling with. What is the higher duty? Is the higher duty to make sure that my family, nothing ever happens to my family, and to be such a pedigree of a father, I'll protect them even if it means sacrificing other core principles? Or is the higher calling, despite knowing what risk may come, the truth matters more? And the reason why I say this is in Nick Fuentes' favor is because Nick has continually brought that up as an element of what he is like avoiding, which is, because of marriage. And he references Paul. And this is actually, you see a little bit of this in the recent Nick Fuentes Joel Webben interview, not episode 4, but episode 3, where they talk about masculinity. And Nick is outlining, St. Paul, and I've referenced this before. St. Paul wants us to be like alone. He thinks it's better for man to be alone. But he understands that if you yourself recognize that you're going to struggle with lust and sexual desires, it's better for you to be married. But therein, you have Nick, following very closely to the steps of St. Paul, which is he's not in a relationship. Therefore, there are no other liabilities that are personally attached to him, like in his family. However, they could still go after like his mom and dad. Right. And so there's still elements like that. And it's hard, you know, there's certain, you can only get so far away from it before they can threaten people with you, even if you don't have a marriage. But it is to say, when you take on a marriage and you do get married and you do have kids, you do take on knowingly a responsibility. So I think it's from that framing that Nick is playing defense for Andrew Tate, which is, that is, I mean, when you do like, when you have children, and people who have children know this, like, there's instinctually in you, your desire as a human being is to protect them. At least it should, if you're a decent human being and you're a good human being. And I can only imagine that going that back and forth there would play a role. It would play an element. And not to say like that's good enough reason or anything, but I think that is the reason why Nick defended the Tates on their kind of backing down of that, because of the pressures, and Alex Jones being under very similar pressures of that too. Where are we at? Where are we at? And this is another crazy one. But he basically, Andrew Tate says, well, maybe we should keep these people in the cage. Maybe we should. He's like, you know, I'm trying to tell these people to get out and they're telling me I'm sold out. And he's like, maybe they are in a cage. But that's largely all the stuff I had seen so far. I had bookmarked in here. There might even be newer stuff, honestly, on here. So we can kind of scroll a little bit on the home feed. Beyond that, I had one other thing I wanted to make sure that we covered. And the rest, I'm probably going to wrap up and save for a stream. Either tomorrow, I'll do it before the Groyper report, or I might come back in on Sunday and do a stream, and it'll be a bit more casual, but we'll see what happens with that. Especially because this one's been very specific so far, and it would probably not behoove me to get too diversified and maybe keep this stream specifically on the Sneako stuff. But we'll see if there's anything else. We have some of these tweets here from Andrew Tate, and I think that's maybe one thing that we can explore. We go to Andrew Tate. Just take a look at his Twitter feed here. Let me, 725 John says Nick doesn't want Tate as an enemy for now. I don't think Tate poses much of a threat to Nick at all. Maybe only in the element of like, if Tate was to start attacking Nick for like, you know, not being a virgin or whatever, like maybe there'd be a framing, but I don't think that would be that effective. This is from January 22nd. This is from yesterday, like from 4 o'clock. I'm not watching that. It might be a decent thing to watch, actually. I'm going to bookmark it. But it's probably him explaining himself a bit more. I just wanted to look at some of these tweets here, because there were a couple that he had. The real divide isn't right and left. It's those who understand what I said in this podcast and those who don't. That's crazy. That's the divide upon which winners and losers will be drawn. Nothing else is real. It's a control op. Interesting. I'm going to tell you what the elite said to me in 10 minutes. So it's like, I mean, like, this is what it's an admission, right? Now, is this like a bit of clout chasing? But I don't think the question is like, is he compromised? I think it's who's compromising him and exactly how. This is such a change in tone. This is such a complete different person. It's very incoherent. Coop caught him out, was gunned down by feds, and Alex just happened to bite his whole style. Oh yeah, you're talking about my gosh, Bill Cooper. Yeah, very, very much so. But if you go to these tweets here, maybe not this. This is hide your power level. That's funny. Let's go to the replies. The replies are going to tell us a bit more, because there's one that's golden in here. Not this one. Not that one. Lucas Gage posted something. Maybe worth listening to. Andrew Tate disses Clav and Sneako, calling them nobodies. Yes, this is what I'm talking about here. So this Clavicular Updates has like nothing on it. You know, calling them nobodies. But then he says Clav's cool. So more so in the direction of he's going straight up with Sneako. Like it's very directed at Sneako, and that would be the take that I would take away from it. But that's not what he said here. And maybe he more so had Sneako in his mind when he was making these comments. But I'll go ahead and play this video, right? They're nobodies. That's the point he's trying to make here.
People getting permission to engage with something that they find like unsettling. That's kind of why your recent incident went viral, because it was perceived as so extreme that certain groups of people were given permission to engage with it. You know what I mean?
I think the recent incident went viral, truthfully, Jack, with all due respect, because I was there. If Myron, Clav, Sneak, and Nick went to the club and played that song, no one would have gave a fuck. Never would have been on the national news, never would have been a big issue. If Clav and Sneako play that song right now on stream, which they've done 1,000 times, guess what's going to happen? Nothing. They're nobodies. But Andrew Tate was there. I'm a real guy. So if someone got shot in that nightclub, the news article would have been, a man shot in the nightclub Andrew Tate is at. Andrew Tate near shooting in Miami nightclub. Andrew Tate involved in gun incident in Florida. I didn't shoot him. I didn't get shot. I was just there. I'm the main fucking character. I mean, it's cool. I mean, it's kind of flattering, but I'm the main character. It went viral because I was there. If all of them, maybe Myron, maybe Nick a bit, but it's because I was there.
Dude, okay. Heavy main character syndrome. Heavy main character syndrome. That's crazy. But now Clav's cool, but you heard it here too. Like, he mentions Myron in there as well. Yeah, Andrew doesn't realize, dude. Nick Fuentes is the main character. What are we talking about, man? Yeah, thank you, mister. Actually, like, we're very strong idea. And they just went on a generational run, actually. They just, they kind of like maybe like broke through like a bunch of taboos recently, I think. Was it somebody who they tried to cancel for like 10 years and like survived on like on D Live and like some of these like weird fringe platforms? Was it like that guy? Yeah, Andrew Tate, did it? That's crazy. Yeah, that is true. Tate is pretty much old. I mean, and to be fair, Andrew Tate had a bit of a generational run back in like whenever that was, a bit earlier before Nick's, but Nick's was so much more meaningful, so much more impactful, so much more galvanizing, and seemingly they had to drive narratives up with what was going on with Charlie Kirk to a certain degree to like erode some of his audience away from him. Thank you very much for the super chat from John R39. He says, it's funny how an actual snake, Andrew Tate calls Sneako a snake. Yeah. I mean, yeah, right. This is where we are at now, boys. A 40-year-old man with his brother snitching on a 27-year-old. It's very childish. I wish I knew a bit more about like what their actual beef was from, but I'd probably have to like do some digging and figure it out. I can only imagine it's probably from like some offhanded comments. And isn't it funny that it's like the two Muslims are like, they're like enemies with each other out of the Red Pill Avengers. But just to show you before we revisit it, here's Clavs, man. I might even find it. Clavicular. I just want to show you what he said on this tweet here recently, like one of his most recent ones. It's right here. It's already got 1 million impressions. It's from noon today. What does he say? Because I'm getting emails from all these media platforms. Who the F is Rolling Stone magazine? LOL. If these wiggins gave me a deadline to reply like an effing high school teacher. Tired of these washed outlets trying to clout chase. That's crazy. Clavicular was like, dude, he's Iron Man, dude. He put on the suit. He's like the Playboy philanthropist. It's like even everybody else doesn't kind of like him, but like he's got swag. So how can you say otherwise? That's crazy. Who's Nick now? Is Nick Captain America? The one that's got the mission, the strong man? We need to iron this out. What would Sneako be then? I mean, but this is the thing, man. I can't say it any more than what I already did, but I think the easiest element is to go and just say like, hey, we don't control the media and it's hateful if you do. And in response of you saying that, we're going to shut you out of all of these different media institutions and we'll close you off. We'll ban you from every single nightclub in America. The national scene just over. He says, is Clav not talking to Sneako? I'd imagine they definitely are. I mean, here's what I saw. So I'm not making accusations or anything at all. I saw that Clavicular is actually still in Miami. And he didn't like leave and he didn't, I think he's like still just solo streaming down there. But what I saw was he recently had tried to get into a club in Miami, but because he was like so under the influence, they wouldn't let him in. That was like the last I saw from Clav. So he might just be like, and truth be told, Clav has said over and over and over again, he doesn't want to talk about politics. He thinks politics is jester. He's like, he thinks race isn't even important. Like, he wants to be very far away from it. And so there's a lot of disagreements I would have with Clavs. But it might not be that he's just not speaking to him. It might just be that he's partying. Like, he'll get to it when he gets to it, I guess. That seems to be the modus operandi of Clavicular. And I want to make sure I'm going to cover everything that I had related to this. Well, one thing that's crazy, this is insane. This is from Andrew Torba, so not Andrew Tate, but this is what the White House posted earlier today. From Andrew Torba, the Goy beam is real. Department of War CTO says, yes, the Department of War has directed energy weapons. Yes, we are scaling them. We skipped a few stages with that one. Like, we literally went from, dude, Jewish space lasers aren't real, you stupid conspiracy theorists, to, yes, they're real and we have a lot of them and we're working on them right now. It's like, whoa. That was a 180. We didn't even have time for the other steps. What are the other steps? Even if we did have directed energy weapons, it's probably a good thing. We skipped that one. That's the one that we skipped. We didn't even get any explanation or like, or like, you know, maybe trying to negotiate like why it'd be a good thing. Not at all. White House just comes out and says, actually, we do. It's crazy. Not even the White House. This is the White House. Forgive me. I wanted to make sure for a second. Like, let me make sure that's not from Israel. Be crazy if it was from Israel. And there's one other thing I wanted to highlight too. Clavicular doubling down on Gavin over JD. Put that up on screen for you. And I mean, he says it. He says it with his chest. Don't need to know anything about these candidates. The choice is obvious. Being out of shape is the ultimate sign of weak will and gluttony. And I'm telling you, I listen. I'm a physiognomy guy. I operate like this too. I don't, and it's not to be rude. It's not to place harsh judgment on people who might be overweight, but it is to say, I do think that your ethos precludes you. I think that if your ethos, when you show up somewhere, you're heavily breathing, you're disheveled, and this is just even like on basic appearance, but then you sit down, you're overweight, you know, you're pushing 40. To me, that is a sign that you lack even the most basic elements of self-control and self-discipline. And to me, those are some of the most top elements you need in a leader. Is someone who has extreme ability to adjudicate their own emotions and their own pleasures and their own ability to determine and have wisdom. And I think that's a huge element of wisdom, is self-mastery and self-discipline. John R. says, again, another super chat. Thank you very much for that, man. He says, also fresh, Myron's friend is an actual rat. Yes, as we discovered as we were watching through it a little bit ago, he is. He's a disturbing human being. And especially having like the balls and the cojones to say something so obviously wrong, was proved wrong in less than 24 hours. You know, Sneako vindicated. That is a definition of burying yourself a hole and laying in it. And I don't think he ever had much of a chance to come back either. He can't speak well. He's dumb. He has no real kind of values. Everybody only knows him because he is Myron's sidekick. And who is his top friends? Who is he top doing these podcasts with? Well, it's the Black Ian Miles Strong and Dom Luker, and it's G Prime, Max Prime, whatever his name is, a Jewish handler who like is a numbers guy and like talks about witchcraft. Like it's that's where he belongs, not on Myron's stream. You know what I mean? And like, let it be, right? Just let it be. Appreciate you for being in here, man. I appreciate the super chats. You take care. And I think this is kind of where I might honestly get close to wrapping it up. I'm trying to look through the last bits of my outline here. And well, actually, no, we have two things. There is a video I want to play because House sent this in, and we're not going to leave just yet. And I have a lot of people watching, so I feel like it'd be dumb of me to just go ahead and turn it down. We have the Jeff Younger update. I want to. We're again side piece. We're moving away from the main featured story of today. This is Jeff Younger. And the reason why I want to highlight him, yes, make sure you do smash a like button. It helps tremendously on YouTube. Like sends it to 2 more people per like or something like that. I forget the metric. And so Jeff Younger gives a statement that I've not covered him for a hot minute, and I want to make sure that I do because I heavily value the relationship. Well, I should say the slight acquaintanceship I have with Jeff Younger. He's a very personable guy. I've followed his story for a long time. I even listened to him before he became a national story. And so he provides an update on where he is at, and perfect timing too, because hopefully Donnie Brooke is in the chat still. And Jeff Younger says that some followers ask about his sons in his case. And Jeff says this: I'm facing prison. I am refusing to pay for transitioning my son to a girl. In California, this is a crime. I expect heavy expenses to defend myself. I have active federal cases. I'm still trying to save my son in the federal court system. I haven't given up. I work continually to close gender clinics. I've helped shut down 2 of the largest gender clinics in the country. I'm communicating with my sons on my YouTube channel. I speak to all young men, including my sons, and that makes it legal. Look for Jeff Younger Show on YouTube. And with that, also, if you guys do want to see more of Jeff Younger and just want to support him in general, make sure you go and subscribe to Jeff Younger. And I'm sure he makes beautiful and wonderful content as well, too. He's a very intelligent guy. He's smart, much smarter than I am. He says, I'm never giving up on my sons. I love them. I miss them. I will fight with all the resources I have. And, it's just a story I follow to a T, just because I do think it is so indicative of what I would say, in my opinion, is the biggest flaw of the Conservative Party. And it is the fact that they overtly do not care at all about the family unit, about family court, despite all the evidence that shows that there are so many bad downstream consequences from family court, from the fact that women win like 90% of the time, all the single motherhood statistics. And then you see Jeff Younger in his story, and specifically it was one of his podcasts with like a guy who goes by like Father or something. And he's talking about how the churches turned their backs on him. The local GOPs turned their backs on him. And they were like, they just wouldn't even get involved. They stopped returning calls. They pretend they didn't even know who he was. And it's like, that's the Matrix. The Matrix is like something so obviously and clearly wrong, but no one can say anything because everything is so contingent upon what they say. And these people are like, man, this guy's child's about to be castrated, but I can't say anything because if I were to say anything, everything that my career is built on is contingent upon not saying that and pushing the company line. And that is what the Matrix is. The Matrix is the fact that all of life is built on these ridiculous contingencies. And so many things connect to the other. And so many people have very short leashes. And a lot of these guys, their own Matrix is their wife. They can't even escape their wife. Which is why, when I give a lot of different statements, it's like we need to be able to. I need to see men start beating their Matrix at home before I ever want to hear men talk about beating the Matrix IRL. And some guys have already beaten it, but a lot of them haven't. So, and that was just super unfortunate. I guess we can play this at the very end. This is a community submission from House Leotardo. I don't know if House is in here, but I'm going to just go ahead and play the video. It's from Jared Taylor, and it's from the American Renaissance. This is the article is going to take me. But he has a video that he posted, about like 11-minute video, and is specifically talking, and it's kind of in the vein where here we are back to feminism, and again, cut away from what the main topic of all the beginning of the stream was. Jared Taylor's Why Have Young Women Gone the Wrong Way? And I'm somebody who finds Jared Taylor to be incredibly brilliant. I think Jared Taylor is really good specifically in speaking, and especially speaking in like kind of like rough scenarios. Especially when he's like trying to get grilled by a journalist and whatnot. Okay, House is still here, cool. And so this is basically like a short video, informational video, explaining a little bit of, why have young women gone the wrong way? And probably perfect for all the people who might be in Sneako'S group too, probably people who are just anti-feminists in general. Let's go and take a listen to this. And we'll probably sign off afterwards. Forgive you, I should have given a warning. Everybody just got flashbang like, dee. Oh, like, dude, you can hear the ringing, but the video's right here.
This is a very.
And he's got such an accent, dude. I don't even know if you say it an accent. It's just his cadence is very unique. I can tell Jared Taylor from like the next person from like 10 miles away. But here it is.
Very disturbing graph. It shows just how much the politics of young American men and women have diverged in this century. The trend for men is flat, but women have taken a sharp left turn. The political gap is even greater than this because these data include all races. A line just for white men would be another 3 or 4 points in the conservative direction. Women are natural socialists. They evolved as the key member of the one group that always has to operate according to the Marxist slogan, from each according to his ability to each according to his need. That's the family. Babies die without care and love. Women evolved to to care and love. How bad is the female swing to the left? There was a massive 2023 survey of 10,500 students at the University of Wisconsin. Here are the percentages who think expressing views perceived as offensive can be seen as an act of violence towards vulnerable people.
That's crazy. It's just like the fact that we got here as a society is just, it's not even just pathetic. It's just, to me, it's one of the most disheartening things to like wake up in the morning. It's like knowing that there's somebody out there that believes that if I say something that they don't like it's going to, like it harmed them. Like this mental illness stuff, like it's all gotta go, dude. Pack these people up in asylums, not houses, whatever you gotta do.
Start at the left with men and women. Nearly 38% of women, twice the percentage of men, think a point of view can be like a punch in the nose. The respondents were 85%.
10% of conservatives agreed, yeah. And they're all from Israel. Those are the conservatives who agreed, man.
White, so distortions from including non-whites are small. There are other interesting categories, but look over at the green columns, whites versus non-whites. More non-whites than whites think views can be violent, but at 37.2%, the percentage of non-white loonies is smaller than the percentage of female loonies. The yellow bars to the right show that humanities and social sciences, where you find the most women, are heavily loony. As for the purple bars on the right, 58.1% of the most liberal students think saying something can be violence.
So that means the close to a vast majority of the most progressive people, which is crazy to think that that's actually not higher, to be honest with you. But maybe people are answering this saying they're very liberal when they're actually not. I mean, people are actually hiding their power levels, so it might not even be just that accurate.
But at the very right, even 9.9% of very conservative students.
Well, this is coming. This is the whole purpose of Palantir, right? Palantir is the 1984 George Orwellian, like quelling the rebellion before it started. This is what Alex Karp brags about. And in that same element too, what's up, GeoGuessr? But in the same element here, the reason why Palantir is a very terrifying thing. And now I'll reference the work of Whitney Webb. Whitney Webb has said that the reason why Epstein is like, in her opinion, the reason why Epstein is actually becoming less and less important is because Palantir will become the next Epstein. They won't actually need a person to be an Epstein. They'll have Palantir, and Palantir will be able to control all. It will be a much stronger, mechanism to control and see all as a surveillance tool. Similarly, with what Epstein was getting things to occur to put them on camera. With Palantir having a lot more control, technological being AI, to be able to do all these things. Webb, that's not not an endorsement of Whitney Webb, but just to go to somebody who's covered Palantir and Epstein and these elements to an extreme degree, that's where her kind of conclusion was. I believe her conclusion, not in the first book, but in the second volume of One Nation Under Blackmail, that was like kind of where she concluded from. And I think that's kind of like where her main shtick is now, is kind of talking a lot about Palantir and the control elements. And I think also like with Monsanto as well, too.
I think so. But the main point here is the huge sex difference. Who thinks students should report an instructor who says something that some students feel causes harm? Look at those girls on the left. 52.6% would rat out a prof. The very liberal students on the right in purple look like they can't wait to pounce on a teacher for saying something that some students felt causes harm. Why is there a big and growing sex difference?
Before he answers that, let me just write this down. I'll look that up afterwards. What is this? Somalian girl, bananas, and rice. Okay. We'll do that. I haven't done a gay of the day in a hot minute. I'll go find it. It's funny.
Journalist Helen Andrews wrote about this in an article in Compact called The Great Feminization. She argues that lefty insanity has one main cause. Cancel culture is simply what women do whenever there are enough of them. Everything you think of as wokeness is simply an epiphenomenon of demographic feminization. It's nothing more than feminine patterns of behavior applied to institutions where women were few in number until recently. I think there's more to it, but Helen Andrews cites important sex differences. Men can disagree fiercely, but still work together.
And as much as I just talked about how feminism is not the end all of the matrix, there's more elements to it. To me, feminism is the most prominent and far reaching element of the matrix. And you can see that in the day-to-day life. All it needs is all one guy needs is one wife, and he's controlled the rest of his life. And so to me, I think feminism is the most wide-reaching, for most men, they can see it, they feel it. So when people talk about it, they go, oh, I see what you're talking about. But it gets much deeper than that, obviously beyond feminism.
They can battle each other in court or in the ring, and then go out for a drink together. Women hold grudges. Even female monkeys hold grudges against each other. Miss Andrews says women evolved to solve conflicts not openly or through tests of strength, but by undermining and ostracizing each other. And women now dominate universities. They've also poured into law schools and journalism. Once there are enough of them, they run things according to squishy emotion rather than hard facts, and they stamp out dissent.
And just look at the physiognomy of these guys too. Like, so look, chick, 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 chick. So there's 6 chicks and 3 guys. And then look at the physiognomy of each of these guys. This guy look like he can bench 225? Nope. This guy look like no, not even close. I'm going to ask him. This guy maybe. So maybe there's one. But then you see the last name and you go, dang.
Once there are enough of them, they run things according to squishy emotion rather than hard facts, and they stamp out dissent. That's what we saw in those student attitudes. Women are the ones who want to ban ideas that might hurt feelings. Feminized college turns young women into hard lefties, and feminized media keep them that way. Someone who writes at X as Vittorio has a different theory that starts out in a similar way. Women evolved to fear social exclusion because if you're pregnant or nursing a child and get kicked out of the group, you die. Men are more independent and they take more risks. Also, in every culture ever studied, men have a higher tolerance for disagreement. A committee meeting doesn't have to be a group hug. In fact, it better not be if anything's going to get done. Women love consensus. And Vittorio argues that...
While we're on the consensus thing, I heard one of maybe the greatest takes of my life from Joel Webben. I think it was on maybe episode 3 of the Nick Fuentes series. And he says, women are all NPCs, but not in-person characters. They are just always naturally pursuing consensus. And wow. Wow. Like, it's funny. It's a dig, but it's very true. And these elements can be seen over and over and over again. And I actually sometimes I point them out to my wife as well too. Like when she's doing it. Not to say it's always bad, but to say that's their operative element. But in an era where you're in the matrix, well, the consensus is the absolute last thing that you should be using as a metric or heuristic to tell if you're correct, right, wrong, moral, etc.
Social media are the biggest, most ruthless consensus machines ever built. You can see what everyone believes in real time. Disagreement is visible, measurable, and punishable at scale. And once everyone got a smartphone, social media could hound you, always, everywhere. This constant scrutiny by potentially everyone in the world overwhelmed the people who are most vulnerable to criticism.
No, not at all. Not at all. And there's a lot of women that don't want anything to do with this. But the reality is, and this is probably true for the majority of them, the reality for a lot of these women, the reason why they don't want those things is probably because they either had a very strong father figure in their life who set them straight, or their husband is the one that's upholding like what the values are of the family and being the one that says, hey honey, did you see this, et cetera, et cetera. It's just more so the fact that it is a general rule. These things are generally true. And so at large, it is like there's a much less women who don't want to be a part of these things than there are women who do actively participate in them. And even of the ones who don't do it, there are still elements of covert feminism that shows itself, which is showing itself in forms such as like when you see with Lauren Southern and others, that I let him lead, which is women who are like, I want a trad relationship, but I just haven't found the man who I can let lead me yet. There's some of these kind of like elements in there where they're breaking away from feminism, but it's not completely, and we're still steps in ahead. And so I'm sure there are women out there who are, and my wife would be one of them, that have their head on straight. And it's not a complete disavow, but these things have to be tangled with in the way they present themselves politically, which is there are huge overarching elements that these consensus-based metrics that these women use and operate by ultimately harm everyone else involved. And that's why I think it's a great video from Jared Taylor.
Most fearful of not fitting in, namely young women. Social media surely contributed to the rise in mental distress from 2011 to 2021.
That's actually a great way to say it. It's not, although there are females who are the problem is feminism. And feminism affects both men and women. That's actually a brilliant way to say it, dude. A1 on Hook there, dude. S tier comment. Round of applause for Hook, dude. Put that up. I'm going to hang that up in the Louvre. No, that's not a joke at all. That's actually a great take, man. Thank you.
With a sharp rise in 2016. As you can see, it's been worse for the youngest group, 18 to 25. And the numbers are a lot higher for girls. This is prevalence of major depressive episodes for adolescents in 2021. The other data are interesting, but look at the sex differences. A shocking 29.2% for women and 11.5% for men. These are major depressive episodes.
And so think about that, right? Think about this figure that you're seeing here. Okay, this is based off of data from 2021. So to be fair, throw in the element that COVID might have a strong element that maybe is boosting these numbers. But COVID didn't just affect women, it affected men too. So I think that might be a bit of a non-factor. But think about this. Think about that in connection to this comment right here from Smelly Balls. For women who might be in the chat here, understand that the general perception of men at large, no matter what even side of the aisle they are on for the most part, they do hold the belief, and I think it is an objectively true one, that women do live life on easy mode, or maybe not even just easy mode, but their life is much easier than men. And I think this has kind of always been true, largely because men seek out to protect women because women are valuable to men. And obviously men being the power force, they are the owners of force doctrine. Women can't even compete on these things. But then you see this, right? If women are living life on easy mode, but then they're also like, they're vastly outcompeting men in depressive episodes, that begins to paint the picture of what men are also beginning to not wanting to be dealing with, which is the neuroticism, right? Which is the neuroticism of the fact that like the slightest thing is like now her whole day is over. There wasn't, I got 5 ice cubes instead of 6 in my Starbucks coffee. Now I'm going to ruin everyone else's day around me because I can't be bothered to just suffer for 1 second. And so that's obviously a minor display there, but men know what I'm talking about. They experience this and they deal with this. And so when you see something like that, right, I think the neuroticism is a major element in this, which is the whimsical nature of women. And when men are trying to build their entire lives, or if they do choose to marry women, a woman being neurotic and flippant is like very destructive to a man's life. Because starting the day and like the woman's like freaking out on an episode about something, that does set an emotional tone to the day for a man. And when that's flippant and like the guy feels like he's walking on eggshells, I'm obviously describing a bunch of different problems here at once. But the big point here being like the neuroticism is on full display here in 2021. Living life on easy mode, but a third of you are having major depressive episodes. How? No, it's like I would like to see like what access was denied. What did they lose? Like what was causing this depressive episode, especially in comparison to men here.
And women are twice as likely as men to suffer from anxiety. Women complain more than men, and an increasingly woman-dominated power structure not only takes women's complaints more seriously, it shares them. This is how we get safe spaces, trigger warnings, hysterical Me Tooism, kangaroo courts for male students who look at a co-ed the wrong way, and the absurd idea that being fat is healthy and sexy. The only way to enforce this stuff is through censorship. This is the staff of Hate Aid, a German nonprofit that claims to strengthen democracy by keeping people like me off the internet.
And here we go again. This is another look at this faculty picture. Look at all the men present in this photo. These are men that I would typically not be friends with. These don't look any type like the phenotype or archetype of the men that I hang out with, that I want to be surrounded by, that I want to be led by, that I think would serve as actually warriors, teachers, and role models in this country. Not a single one of these guys. And I am a big ethos person, right? Just looking at, I do think there's a lot that can be told in the ethos. And you see it once again. That face speaks for itself. So does that one. But I'm going to be honest with you. This gives me nightmares. I couldn't even imagine going into work to work for a media publication and this is my team. I wouldn't be there very long. Yeah, look at the buzzard at the front. You ain't lying.
I count 4 men and 15 women. And of course, the big boss is a woman. Here are the no fewer than 8 photos of Miss von Hodenberg that she invites you to download. It's hard to get more female than that. And censors now wear hip clothes, not commissar uniforms. And so to return to the survey from Wisconsin, no fewer than 39.3% of co-eds think a campus speaker should.
Now, there are portions of men's failures that are resulting in the problem happening here, but intersectionality was what happened. Intersectionality, a lot of people don't know this. With CU Falls, right, the big waterfall convention that led to right before they had the enough votes to actually win and get the 19th Amendment and women's suffrage installed. There was many women, a lot of women didn't want the right to vote. There's letters that you can find. I think Sarah Stockton posted one not too long ago, like a day or two ago. But what you'll see in there is actually who was one of the other main keynote speakers at this press conference, but at this meeting, at this women's suffrage meeting. It was Frederick Douglass. Well, why was Frederick Douglass there? This is a black man who's speaking for the freedom of black men. Because in order to get their issues pushed through, they had to team up. This is the beginning of the intersectionality. So you have Frederick Douglass, and they're basically kind of agreeing they'll vote for each other, and thus you can see the web begin to weave as black issues and feminism begins to start. And they got this. So they vote for each other and they push it through. Only because, not because they believed in each other's values, but because they knew they had to team up with them to get their stuff through. So it was kind of it was a circumventing the will of the people, if you will, in that sense. However, there is strategy in politics, and that's part of the way the game is played. And Frederick Douglass, he spoke at the CU Falls convention, and that's where, again, you get the start off here. Now, where we are today is that the legal climate and the social climate is not at all whatsoever friendly to men. You have to think about it, right? Steven Crowder was literally crucified over words that he said to his wife, and what happened with that? We're in a world where the legal system is protecting. We just covered Jeff Younger. The legal system is protecting and threatening federal prison for a father who is trying to everything in his power under all of the peaceful channels he has available to him to save his son from being castrated, and they're going to threaten him with prison. He more than likely will go to prison if he doesn't raise enough money. Men are actively fighting in this country. The problem does come back down to the fact that the neuroticism actually ran so long that most women think that they get the choice into saying they're going to let them lead. And until women can get past being emotionally outraged at the word submission and submitting, we're not going to go anywhere. And that's really the crux of the issue is right now, is a lot of guys simply the juice is not worth the squeeze, so they're not going to even begin to attempt. And of the guys who can get with women, they're not the ones that lock them down, thus expanding and pushing this problem. One major element, too, is women need to police themselves a lot better than what they currently are. Women have got to do so much, a significantly better job. This lying to your fat friend and saying she's beautiful, that shit's got to stop. Like, stop commenting on it. You don't need to comment on it. She's a whale. And in fact, that's actually awful of you to be doing that. You need to be telling her what she needs to hear, which is she needs to lose weight. Building up this fake life for this fat chick, and everybody knows what I'm talking about, happens all the time. That to me is very selfish. And it's selfish in the sense that you couldn't be bothered to deal with your friend's real feelings for more than a couple minutes to just tell her something that she needs to hear. So there's a lot of things that we could go in back and forth on this element. But to say there is some elements of truth in what you're saying in the failures of men, because they do persist to this day, and weak men don't help anything at all.
Be disinvited. That is to say, told to stay away after he was invited if some students would find his views offensive. Helen Andrews thinks it will all get worse. Older men will age out of their jobs, and once the English department or the newsroom reaches a certain level of estrogen poisoning, only sissy boys will stay, and they'll go along with the girls. Right-thinking white men will tune out the news, despise the left, stop going to college, and have a hard time finding girlfriends. How can anyone marry when feminism teaches women that if they think they want children, it's only because the patriarchy brainwashed them, and that true fulfillment is working in HR or a progressive nonprofit? And even when they are 35 and childless and have been taking antidepressants for 15 years, they still won't admit that their Republican voting father was right.
And here's the thing, that's another element of this consensus, which is like the SSRIs, which in my opinion, I've seen data that shows you that it leads to even more depression. You have the hormonal birth control, which is messing with the woman's entire ecosystems. And you have women, and that's like the top recommendation when women go in, even for like early ages, right? And so one of the most kind of like despicable things is the hormonal birth control. What you see very often with a lot of these marriages is the moment that she comes off of it, they get ready to have a child. Because it has literally altered her pheromone senses, what ends up happening is when she breaks out of the spell that is hormonal control, she begins to get her actual natural pheromones back, and now she's actually disgusted by her husband. It turns out she married someone that she's not even an ounce of attracted to. And then once they have this child, you have this massive blow up. You know, the marriage just gets blown up. And that is one of the things that needs banned very soon, in whatever form possible, and along with a lot of the other contraceptives. But the hormonal birth control is especially nefarious.
Steve Saylor thinks the sex divide can also be thought of as a marriage and babies divide. Married white women are a lot more likely to vote Republican, especially once they have children. They start caring about schools, policing, lower taxes, traditional values. And in 2024, 56% of white married women voted Trump. That's pretty close to the 59% of white men who did. Single white women voted only 47% for Trump. But the tragedy remains for young white men today. Traditionally, it was women who wanted to marry and have children. Now it's white men who want to have families and rear happy, proud children. And many can't find healthy-minded women. Many women do return to good health once they become mothers. But for now, a lot of them are just impossible. It's understandable why so many white men lash out at liberal women. But they are victims of a sick and cruel system.
And here's what I would say to that too. This is why I push so hard for men to get into the gym, as shallow as you may find that to be. I find it to be of a very strong purpose, and especially with like the looks maxing and all that, getting to the gym, getting your P's and Q's in order. Because if for you to get ahead in this system, you have to understand, like, obviously we're literally being like annihilated 6 ways from a Sunday. So knowing that, you have to be better than that. You have to become stronger. You have to become greater than that. Whatever skill you can sharpen or hone, whatever thing, and be able to be dominant in a field. Be able to reign dominion over something that you have control and mastery over. Now, for myself, I'm a bit more of like a jack of all trades. There's probably a multitude of different ways you can go about it. But if you want, I'm telling you, if you want to escape out of the system, you want a wife, you want a family, you have to be able to be someone that's got the ability to articulate, and not just articulate, but lead in a convincing fashion so that you can have those things. Because I'm here to tell you, if you do possess a certain level of equity and ability to speak and charisma, you can circumvent a lot of these things that are in your way, that are barriers right now. And that's what I wanted to push more than anything, which is like remaining optimistic. Take the white pill. It's not there. It's bad. A lot of it's bad, but you can't give up, and you need to rise above. And it's harder now. But what are we going to do about it? It's obviously harder than what it was for our grandpas. A lot of these women aren't even worth it. But to just give up entirely, like, to me, that is like, you're letting the man win. You're letting the system win. Don't let the system win.
A system that hijacked the best part of their nature, their kindness and their caring, and turned it against everything that it is also in their nature to love, their men, their families, and their race. Sometimes destructive forms of insanity fall out of fashion. Trans identification really is in free fall. Same for non-binary. Let's hope single white women begin to come to their senses. But whatever happens, white women must not be our enemy. They need us, and we need them. They are our troubled, unhappy sisters. They will never be happy until they are cured. And the best cure is a strong, patient white man.
Beautiful work there from Jared Taylor and his company, I believe, or publication, whatever you want to call it, the American Renaissance. I think he does great work. Let me get this off of light mode. Lord have mercy. I'm being blinded by the sun. And again, and I would agree with a lot of people. I don't think marriage is in the cards for a lot of people. And I think increasingly so by the day that it becomes more and more and more and more true. I'm going to be honest with you. The way that I see it, especially in the legal system, like, if you are not entirely 100% convinced and you do not feel it as being laid upon your heart by the Lord Jesus Christ, then don't do it. Don't do it. Don't take the chance. It is bullshit that you get these pushes from people like Matt Walsh and Ben Shapiro. And of course, it's the Daily Wire. Just get married. It's ridiculous. Every single one of them kept their mouth shut about Jeff Younger. Nobody even talks about it. Nobody talks about family court because they don't care, because they don't give a shit, because they're there to get their own issues. They're there for clout. Same thing with Matt Walsh and Michael Knowles. These people, they know what they are. They know the accusations against them. They're not decent people. Now, I will say they have been helpful to the conversation, and I would say very much so with Matt Walsh and the transgender stuff. But for the overall, I'm not here to care about legacy and all these things and individual effects and accolades and achievements. I care about, are we making it better? Are we taking another step forward together? Is the collective getting better? And that's what I look at, and I think that's what we should be paying attention to. But for the conservative party to be the party of the family and the nuclear family and, trad life, and they omit the biggest thing that affects it. I mean, I can only say that so many times, so I'm blue in the face. These people do not care. They know, and the thing is, it would be so easily winnable on the elements of family court and be able to look at the data, look at like with the stuff that Jeff Younger pulls up, comparing the outcomes from children from single mother homes versus single father homes. All of it. Every single ounce of it. And it is unfortunate the way we are, where we are right now too. I think a lot of people are probably confused. Don't know what to think about this recent situation. I think what we can say right now is Andrew Tate, like we said at the beginning, pressure from somebody, but from where? Is it from his father? Is it from somebody showed a picture of his family? Did somebody show him a picture of charges that he hasn't had dropped on him yet? Unsure. What I can say is Sneako'S coming out clean, and it was an absolute like insane that he was even here earlier in the stream. That's kind of wild. And Clavicular also coming out on top too, which is kind of unfortunate because for both of those guys, I have probably like stronger disagreements than I do with the others. But you got to be honest. We have to be honest with what's happening. You got to be realistic and, give people their flowers and props when they do things that are beneficial and that I think is worth praising. And so to that effect, good luck to Sneako, man. I guarantee we'll probably be getting another podcast video from Andrew Tate. I'm sure it'll be more. And man, what a day. What an experience. I feel like I'm like literally just all off kilter just because he was in here earlier. It threw me off. I am what's the word? Starstruck, if you will. Oh, you're right. Millie Reed, the gay of the day. You were totally right. I'm glad that you said that. You said a Somalian girl talking about bananas and rice. Let me go find this. Go see if this is even real. Somalian girl, bananas, rice. Oh my gosh. Is it this one? Are you serious? Is it this one? Okay. All right. Okay. Here's the gay of the day.
The gay of the day.
I'm assuming this is the video that Merely Reed is referencing. So we're going to take a watch. It's like not even a minute long. A Somalian girl talking about bananas and rice. Okay. And nice. And Arcturus, of course. And thank you for all the people who are here who probably just came from maybe Sneako or wherever else you came from. It looked like I had higher numbers than I normally do. But thank you. And hopefully you'll stick around. But here's the video.
Somali. To me, being Somali isn't just eating bananas with rice. It's a lot. It's like it's an interesting thing. It's very hard to describe what it means to be Somali and what it means to be American, but it's like a cultural fusion. It's kind of like the bananas and rice. You know, people don't really see, like, you know, it's you know, people don't think, oh, you can eat bananas with rice, but that's what it's like to be Somali and American. It's like that combination of banana and rice, but you're gonna get what I mean.
Are we, dude? Bro, I have to listen to it one more time, dude. We have to do it. We have to do it. We have to.
So I'm Somali. I'm proud to be Somali. To me, being Somali isn't just eating bananas with rice. It's a lot. It's like it's an interesting thing. It's very hard to describe what it means to be Somali and what it means to be American.
That's what I was thinking, dog.
It's like a cultural fusion. It's kind of like the bananas and rice. You know, people don't really see, like, you know, it's yeah. You know, people don't think, oh, you can eat bananas with rice,
right,
but
one of her 10 husbands.
That's what it's like to be Somali and American. It's like that combination of banana and rice, but you're gonna get what I mean. So I'm Somali.
Isn't it banana and rice for diarrhea? Dude, that's 45 seconds of straight incoherent nonsense, dude. That's crazy. Okay, what's this one? What did Tix just send me? Can I click on the link in here? That's crazy. Am I able to click on the link on this thing, dude? I got to go to this one over here, I think. I have a little chat bar over here. What did Tix just send me? Tix always be sending me the worst stuff, dude. What is this? Tix is something, man. I have to look up this video separately because that's on a different stream. We'll watch this though. This is ridiculous. Let me just turn on the display capture on this one. Let me try this. We'll watch it this way. Then we don't have to set up something a little different. Let me do this. Hold on. Tix, I'm telling you guys, Tix be sending me the worst things, man, possible. I gotta like hide my children before I click on what Tix sends me. No, I'm just messing. Okay, we need to capture, which screen is it? It's this one. Okay, you should still be able to hear me. I'm not gonna worry about putting my face back on screen. This is what Tix sent me. It says, I'd like to thank the Academy. This is what you guys, so now you know what I have to deal with here. 7-year-old video that's like less than 200 views. Okay, what is this?
First, I would like to thank the Academy for
to the Academy, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you first to the Academy.
And thank you for the Academy Awards, for the who really loved the movie. Thank you.
To thank the Academy for the honor of the movie.
And I thank the Academy.
Thank you so much.
Okay. All right. Okay, so now we have reached the end of the stream. I appreciate everybody for being here. It was fantastic. I do like streaming a lot more. I do like doing the casual stuff. I wish I would have started doing it sooner. We'll do a good bit more of a mix here that we have going on. But you guys are great. See, Tick's doing that messed up the chat, so blame Tix for that too. I'm just messing with you. I appreciate you all. I got to get ready and look forward to what I need to do for the video for over the weekend. But what was great was the video I recently put out was a smash hit that pushed me over 20,000 subscribers. And so again, thank you guys greatly for that. Oh my gosh. Thank you very much. Nathan James, 10 gifted. Appreciate that very much, brother. Thank you very much. A lot of people became members off of that. Got Cypher's Basement in here as well too. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, guys. And speaking of that too, I do need to put out more members only content. So every time you guys do that, it reminds me, I feel guilty that I don't have more members only content. We're getting there. We're getting there. The only other announcement I have would be a very short one and a small one, and one that may be a bit more impactful than what we might foresee as of right now. And there's just some things moving on behind the scenes at NAV that we may be just pulling back a little bit, not pausing full blown, but just maybe you're just going to see less content overall. There's some people who are wanting to get stabilized financially, and before they move on with NAV and commit a lot more time to NAV, they want to make sure they have their ducks in order before they do so. So just so that, if you see less content overall, it's not a sign that things going down. It's just the fact that people got to put time in different buckets. And, and partially because we don't have a crew or anybody on the payroll. So it is hard. And it is all like volunteer work too. But as always, Christ is King. Christ is Lord. Seek first the kingdom of God. And my favorite Bible verse, one of my favorite Bible verses, I don't know, I like that. Matthew 6:33. Once again, the keychain that my parents got me that is amazing. That it looks too good to even put on anything. Matthew 6:33. But seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you. Amen. Deport Cash Patel, deport Pam Bondi. At this point, throw either of them in jail. Deport any woman over 120 kilograms. No. Deport any woman over 100 pounds, and chain the rest to a kitchen sink. And W Sneako. W's for Sneako in the chat. I appreciate you guys. I'm rooting for you, and I will see you guys next time. Take care.
Get up and get out. Get out. Get out.
I have a question for you.
Say Christ is Lord. Say Christ is Lord. Say it. You say Christ is Lord. Get out. Get out.